Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is a story about what if Naruto has Otsutsuki legacy harem. Before I start, please support for more amazing content and do consider subscribing to my channel and share this video with your friends. This is written by TheLonelyMoonandStars and link in the description and support writer. Let's start the video. Chapter 1. Surprise Legacy. A 6-year-old blonde boy with 3 whisker marks on each cheek of his face ran off in a random direction in sadness. The boy was none other than Naruto Uzumaki, Jinchuriki of the Kyuubi no Kitsune. Naruto was having a bad day, make that a horrible day. First was that he is late to the academy on the first day because he was stuck on a toilet because of rotten milk that he bought a few days earlier in the market in one of the stores. Once he was in the classroom, the teacher sent him to stay in the hall until he finished the lesson Naruto interrupted and late to. It turns out that the lesson he was teaching contained all of the basic knowledge he was going to teach that year, and he was going to have a quiz the next day to see if they were paying attention. When Naruto came after class to get help, the teacher just said he was busy and can't, but in reality Naruto knew that he just didn't want to help. The second thing was that he wasn't able to use the training grounds at the academy because he wasn't taught how to do anything yet, but the teachers allowed other students to train there, but Naruto didn't mention it and just ran. After running for a while in the random direction, Naruto made it in front of a huge fence that blocked off a forest. Deciding he wanted to just be in peace for a while, Naruto climbed over the huge fence and ran into the forest. If he would have looked around more, he would have found a gate with a sign saying Training Ground 44, the Forest of Death. While running, Naruto began noticing strange things about the forest. At first it was just the abnormal huge trees, but then it was the huge flowers and plants that seemed to bend towards him and making a mouth opening and closing motion. The final thing was the giant bugs right in front of him that looked hungry. Knowing the best thing to do was run, he did just that. For minutes the bugs kept attacking him and giving him injuries, and Naruto was only 6 years old, so in a life and death situation like this, he was getting pretty tired out. After about another minute the exhaustion caught up to Naruto and he tripped over a root of a nearby plant. Quickly getting up, Naruto turned to face the giant bugs. He came face to face with one of them as it was bring one of its side-like arms into a horizontal swing, and Naruto began to think really fast. Am I going to die here? I don't want to die just yet. I haven't become Hokage yet and proved the village that I am Naruto Uzumaki and not just a brat, and with that Naruto's perception and sight got slower. Seeing where the swing is going to hit, Naruto brought up his small arms and tried to block the attack. Naruto succeeded in blocking it but was flung across the land and into a small hole under one of the giant trees. Inside the hole the ground gave out under the force of Naruto hitting it and Naruto fell through. The effects of Naruto blocking the dull part of the side-like arms was apparent as it cut into his arms deeply and broke them, making them take shape in angles they shouldn't be able to do. The last thing Naruto saw before he passed out was the bug trying to get through the hole before leaving. The last thing the bug saw before leaving was a pair of red glowing eyes with one tomo in each eye. In a huge cage in Naruto's mind, there was another pair of eyes opening. These were also glowing red, but instead of being the same as Naruto's new eyes, they had a vertical black slit. The owner of these pairs of eyes was none other than Kyuubi himself. My container is starting to get interesting. Even though he just activated those cursed eyes of that clan, it did allow me to sense that hidden power the boy has. I hate everyone that has ever belonged to that cursed clan, but I will see what this boy holds in the future with this hidden power before I place him with the rest of his cursed clan. After the thought, the Kyuubi closed his eyes to take another nap, but not before sending some of his chakra to help the boy out just this once. On the outside, Naruto's body was covered in red bubbling chakra that started healing his injuries, along with snapping bones in place, and then healing them correctly, making them like they never broke in the first place. Naruto started to wake a couple of hours later. It was now dark and looked to be around 9 p.m. Naruto started to open his eyes and sit up slowly. He looked around, recognizing the place he was in as not his apartment, the afternoon's events, then rushed over his memories like a wave as Naruto became wide awake and started looking around to find where he was. Where am I? What is this place? It doesn't look like a cave or something under the earth that is natural, Naruto said, talking to himself, noticing the walls and ceiling were made out of brick that seemed to be cracking. How am I supposed to get out of here with the opening up there? He once again asked himself as he looked up at the opening that was on the ceiling around 6 feet above him. I guess I will have to just look around for another way out or until someone finds me. Naruto looked around for around a half hour and noticed that his vision was more clear and that he could see in the dark more easier, but dismissed it. What he found shocked and disgusted him as he found a room with glass containers that held babies and some liquid, all of them dead. He found a small library that held a small amount of jutsu for each element, along with non-elemental jutsu, in another room across from the laboratory. The room Naruto found himself in was actually what looked like a training ground, as he could see wooded posts and dummies in several areas of the large chamber, probably to test out the jutsu that he found in the library. Naruto currently found himself at the beginning of the passage after the half hour of looking around. This place is pretty cool. Well, it would be if all those babies weren't dead and in glass containers that look like big test tubes. I want to practice some of those jutsu in that library though, but Hokage would probably won't let me. Maybe I can take them with me and hide them and say that nothing was in that room. No, Gigi would know I'm lying, so I can't do that. After thinking for a couple minutes, he came up with something that a 6-year-old shouldn't have been able to create in a thought process. Maybe this place is a forgotten laboratory of an evil scientist, and if I tell Gigi about this, someone in the council that wants power would try to use the evil knowledge to do other evil things, claiming it to be good for the village. Yes, that has to be it. I decided to not tell Gigi about this place, and now I can learn jutsu from the library all I want, since I only know where it is besides the evil scientist. Naruto declared with a cheerful voice at coming up with what he believes is a good reasoning. The evil scientist is Orochimaru, and the council member that craves power for Konoha is Danzo Shimura, though Naruto doesn't know this, as he just created the excuse just so he can learn from the library. Naruto then began walking through the long passageway to hopefully was an exit to the place he found himself in. After walking for about an hour and going through twists and turns, Naruto finally made it to the end of the tunnel. Finally, I didn't think this was ever going to end. I hope Gigi didn't stop by my apartment after school, or he might have found out that I was missing, then I won't be able to keep this place a secret. Naruto then climbed the ladder that was on the wall that led up to a latch to the surface. Naruto came out at one of the training grounds that was near the academy. From the looks of it, it looks like it doesn't get used often by the looks of the grass growing out a little, and the posts meant for taijutsu practice had a little dust on it. Luckily for Naruto, it was night and barely anyone was out, along with his apartment being nearby also. It was the same distance it would take to the academy, but if he went from his apartment to the academy, it would take him twice as long as it would take him to get to the training ground he appeared in. Naruto, believing no one saw him walking through the streets, went up the stairs that led to his door and entered so he could get ready for bed. All the while, the only person that noticed Naruto's disappearance and went looking for him looked at where Naruto stood in shock. This person was none other than the Uchiha prodigy, Itachi Uchiha, and he noticed the change in Naruto's eyes, from the usual sky blue to blood red, with one tamo in each eye. Naruto had his clan's Dijutsu, the Sharingan. Itachi was brought out of his shock once he heard a yell of surprise from Naruto's apartment, or more specifically Naruto's bathroom. Itachi decided to wait till Naruto fell asleep so he could place a chakra suppression seal on Naruto so Naruto's Sharingan could deactivate. Since Naruto had a huge amount of chakra for his age, the chakra would like to get used, and since the Sharingan was activated, Naruto is unconsciously sending his chakra to his eyes, which is keeping the Sharingan activated. With Itachi placing the chakra suppression seal on Naruto, it will lock Naruto's chakra away, which will deactivate the Sharingan. Since the Sharingan is no longer drawing in any more chakra, Itachi could take of the seal and let Naruto's chakra out again, and it won't go towards his eyes since nothing is trying to use his chakra. Once Naruto finds out how to control his chakra even a little bit, he would be able to activate and deactivate his Sharingan at will. After Itachi forcefully deactivated Naruto's Sharingan, he went home to rest. Itachi knew he couldn't tell anyone about Naruto having the Sharingan since he knew his father would demand he be placed in the Uchiha clan's custody since Naruto was an Uchiha. With how his father has talking about the Uchiha clan ruling over Konoha, it would be bad if his clan got their hold on Naruto, the Kyuubi Jinchuriki. Naruto woke up the next morning more refreshed than usual when he wakes up in the morning. Probably just because he was really tired from the adventure he had the day before. Doing his usual routine before his school, Naruto got dressed in and got ready for the academy. While running through the streets, Naruto didn't notice a pair of blood-red eyes watching him. Itachi Uchiha. After finding out that Naruto was an Uchiha, Itachi decided to take it upon himself to see if Naruto is learning enough from the academy, but knowing the villagers and parts of the shinobi population, Naruto might not be getting that much attention needed on his education. End of the academy day. Itachi was right. Why wasn't he wrong? Because he is known as a genius in the shinobi arts and can tell when someone is holding back something or doing something the incorrect way just for one person. The teacher that had been teaching Naruto had been teaching Naruto wrong whenever Naruto asked for help on something. When it came to taijutsu practice, the teacher was teaching him the wrong katas, or at least changing the stance on the academy katas that would make the style fail in a fight. All of this just confirmed why Itachi wanted to teach Naruto. If Naruto was learning correctly, he would have just left the academy to teach him until Naruto was older so he could teach him how to use his Sharingan, but that wasn't the case. At least today the academy actually taught the students what chakra was and how to activate theirs, so he didn't have to go over that with Naruto. It was currently 3:30 in the afternoon, so he decided to take Naruto to one of the training grounds to teach him until night. Jumping out of the tree outside Naruto's apartment, he walked up to Naruto's door and knocked. It was a couple of seconds later when Naruto opened the door to look out to see who would visit him. "Hello Naruto," Itachi greeted. Hello, but who are you? Did you want something? Naruto greeted then asked. My name is Itachi Uchiha. It's not me that wants something, but I do offer you something if you accept, Itachi explained. Come inside then and tell me what you want to offer, Naruto said as he opened the door more and moved out of the way to let Itachi in. Yesterday night I was walking out in the village and noticed you running home. I also noticed a change in your eyes, to be more specific. It would seem that you have my clan's Taijutsu, the Sharingan, Itachi revealed in a monotone voice, turning around to face Naruto with his 3-tomo Sharingan. Naruto started to sweat at the fact that it has only been one day since he found out he had the Sharingan, and one of the Uchiha clan members noticed. Even though he was only 6 years old, Naruto knows if the Uchiha clan found out he had the Sharingan, it would cause uproar in the village, even if he doesn't exactly know why. Not aware of Naruto's thoughts, Itachi carried on. I have spent the entire day watching you in the academy to see how the academy teachers are teaching you, and I have realized they are not teaching you correctly. I've come here to offer you if you would like to train under me and be my apprentice. Along with teaching you how to be a shinobi, I will teach you how to use the Sharingan and some jutsu I have created myself. So how would you like to learn under me? Itachi asked, still in a monotone voice. Naruto looked at Itachi in surprise. Why would you want me as your apprentice? You could always ask someone else, but you chose me, why? Naruto asked in confusion. Itachi was surprised that Naruto would even think this through. He believed the 6-year-old boy would be jumping up and down in joy at being trained to be a shinobi from him. I chose you because I see potential in you that would change this world of hatred one day. I also want to do this to show your parents my appreciation for what they did when they were alive. Before you ask, no, I will not tell you who your parents were, as if you knew and you accidentally tell someone you will be in danger from their enemies. When I believe you are mature enough to handle the information I will tell you, but not today. Before you start thinking in the future how I am only training you because of what your parents did, you could forget about that. I am only training you because of what I see in you and your potential you have. It is only a bonus that I can also think of it as saying thanks to your parents. So does that answer your question? Itachi surprisingly said, keeping his monotone voice the entire time. Naruto thought over what he said and decided. Yeah, I would like to be your apprentice if you will allow me to. When will we begin? Right now. Itachi then appeared in front of Naruto and grabbed him and disappeared in a shunshin. Barry appeared back in a training ground 43 to be more specific. Naruto fell onto his butt from the sudden speed. Itachi-sensei, what was that? That was a jutsu called shunshin. It is a high-speed movement jutsu that helps shinobi move around faster. I will teach you how to do it once I feel like you're ready, but for now let's begin your training. Today you will work on chakra control until 6. From 6 to 9 you will work on physical exercise, and from 9 to 10 you will meditate to work on your patience and ability to stay still. I will create a schedule for you to follow because I won't have much time to train you, but when I do I will be training your jutsu or taijutsu. Now to start on your chakra control, I want you to balance a leaf 6 inches above your fingers until you can do it for a full minute, then add another leaf to another finger and do both at the same time, Itachi ordered. For the next 2 hours Naruto was able to balance 3 leaves on his fingers for a minute before he had to start his physical exercise. Itachi had him running around the training ground non-stop for 45 minutes. Naruto then had to alternate between doing 30 push-ups and 30 sit-ups for another 45 minutes. For another 45 minutes Itachi showed Naruto how to do the real academy taijutsu style and had him go through the katas. Another 45 minutes after that was Naruto using the academy style against Itachi, with Itachi just on the defensive most of the time. For the last hour Itachi showed Naruto how to meditate and allowed Naruto to try it himself. Naruto couldn't stop moving during it, so Itachi had Naruto think about something that calms him down and relaxes him. Itachi told Naruto to focus on meditating with that feeling to help him keep still. It only helped slightly though. By the time Naruto went home he was all sweaty, tired, and full of bruises. Man, Itachi-sensei is a really tough teacher, but I'm glad I got the chance to become a better shinobi than when I go to the academy, Naruto said as he flopped onto his bed after getting changed into his pajamas and brushing his teeth. When morning came Naruto felt a whole lot refreshed and didn't notice that all of his bruises were gone. He went about his day a lot more happy and cheerful and couldn't wait till he got to continue his training with Itachi. When Naruto got to the academy he was on time and he sat in the middle of the room next to a lazy Nara named Shikamaru. Naruto's day was boring as the teacher began to teach the theory part of being a shinobi, along with other common stuff everyone knows like math and English class, not about learning the language English, but about grammar, spelling, and how to read better. Once again the academy teacher was teaching Naruto the academy taijutsu style wrong and was helping him in the wrong way, but Naruto just went with it. By the end of the day Naruto rushed off towards the training grounds Itachi brought him to. When he arrived he saw Itachi appear in his special crow shunshin. So what are we doing today, Itachi-sensei? Naruto asked in an excited tone. We will be working on the same things we did yesterday, but for the chakra control training, once you have gotten 5 leaves floating above your fingers, then I will teach you the tree walking exercise. Also here is the schedule you will be working on for the next couple months. As I won't be able to train you for the rest of the week, you will have to work on the stuff on your own, Itachi explained as he handed Naruto the schedule. Naruto grabbed the paper and started reading it. Sunday, 6 a.m.-9 a.m. Reading history, working on math, working on English. 9 a.m.-12 p.m. Chakra control. 12 p.m.-3 p.m. Working on kunai and shuriken throwing. 3 p.m.-6 p.m. Physical workout. 6 p.m.-7 p.m. Jutsu practice. 7 p.m.-9 p.m. Taijutsu training. 9 p.m.-10 p.m. Meditation. Monday, 6 a.m.-7:40 a.m. Reading history, working on math, working on English. 7:40 a.m.-3:30 p.m. Getting ready for the academy, going to the academy. 4 p.m.-5 p.m. Chakra control. 5 p.m.-6 p.m. Jutsu practice. 6 p.m.-9 p.m. Physical workout. Taijutsu practice. 9 p.m.-10 p.m. Meditation. Tuesday, 6 a.m.-7:40 a.m. Reading history, working on math, working on English. 7:40 a.m.-3:30 p.m. Getting ready for the academy, going to the academy. 4 p.m.-6 p.m. Chakra control. 6 p.m.-9 p.m. Physical workout. Taijutsu practice. 9 p.m.-10 p.m. Meditation. Wednesday, 6 a.m.-7:40 a.m. Reading history, working on math, working on English. 7:40 a.m.-3:30 p.m. Getting ready for the academy, going to the academy. 4 p.m.-5 p.m. Chakra control. 5 p.m.-6 p.m. Jutsu practice. 6 p.m.-9 p.m. Physical workout. Taijutsu practice. 9 p.m.-10 p.m. Meditation. Thursday, 6 a.m.-7:40 a.m. Reading history, working on math, working on English. 7:40 a.m.-3:30 p.m. Getting ready for the academy, going to the academy. 4 p.m.-6 p.m. Chakra control. 6 p.m.-9 p.m. Physical workout. Taijutsu practice. 9 p.m.-10 p.m. Meditation. Friday, 6 a.m.-7:40 a.m. Reading history, working on math, working on English. 7:40 a.m.-3:30 p.m. Getting ready for the academy, going to the academy. 4 p.m.-5 p.m. Chakra control. 5 p.m.-6 p.m. Jutsu practice. 6 p.m.-9 p.m. Physical workout. Taijutsu practice. 9 p.m.-10 p.m. Meditation. Saturday, 6 a.m.-9 a.m. Reading history, working on math, working on English. 9 a.m.-12 p.m. Chakra control. 12 p.m.-3 p.m. Working on kunai and shuriken throwing. 3 p.m.-6 p.m. Physical workout. 6 p.m.-7 p.m. Jutsu practice. 7 p.m.-9 p.m. Taijutsu training. 9 p.m.-10 p.m. Meditation. The entire schedule was basically the same, but alternated between 1 hour of chakra control and 1 hour of jutsu practice, with 2 hours of chakra control and no jutsu practice. After reading the schedule, Naruto got to work on his training. Once Naruto was done with the leaf floating exercise, Itachi taught him the tree climbing exercise. During Taijutsu practice, Itachi took the time to show Naruto how to throw kunai and shuriken, along with how to do the substitution jutsu and the hinge jutsu. By the end of the day, Naruto was once again tired and full of bruises, but still happy about his training. The next day after the academy, Naruto went to go follow his schedule, but since Itachi wasn't there, he went to the new training grounds he found when he activated his Sharingan. It only took Naruto 20 minutes to get to the training grounds under the forest while running instead of walking, and arriving in an hour. During the week, Naruto would follow the schedule every time. During the time he got to practice jutsu, he practiced the ones Itachi showed him, which didn't take him that long to learn. He went to the library and was looking through the jutsu it had on non-elemental. He found an interesting bunshin jutsu called Cage Bunshin. It allows the user to split its chakra into even amounts among the clones made to make solid clones, instead of just illusions. Another great part about it was that it allowed the user to gain the memories after the clones dispel. The downside to it was it needed a bunch of chakra, but Naruto didn't need to worry about that since he could make around 100 clones without getting tired. After spending 2 jutsu practice training periods to learn the jutsu, Naruto used it to help him master the substitution and hinge jutsu. For the next 2 months, Naruto would follow the schedule, and while Itachi wasn't teaching him, he would go to his training ground, and after skipping training for 2 days, Naruto managed to clean up the place. Naruto put the babies into a storage scroll he found laying around, and he left it on the desk of sleeping Chunin who were on guard duty, and had it sent to the Hokage. He had a note with it as well saying they were found in an underground hideout. To say the village was busy the next day would be an understatement, as the Hokage sent out teams to find the base and find the person who sent in the scroll. The aged Hokage had recognized some of the babies from missing persons reports, and he had the hospital look at the DNA of the babies to find out who the parents were. Hiruzen guessed it was one of his students, Orochimaru, that used the base. 2 months since Naruto started training under Itachi. Itachi was currently getting ready to train Naruto as he grabbed some scrolls he wanted Naruto to read over. Today was the day he was going to start training Naruto in using the Sharingan. As he gathered his stuff, he thought of Naruto's progress. Naruto's training is going really well. For a 6-year-old who just started the academy, he could probably already fight a 12-year-old and come out in a tie. Even though a 12-year-old is still in the academy and aren't that strong, someone of Naruto's age cannot hope to match them unless they had training like Naruto. Itachi walked through the kitchen in the early morning on Saturday. He was going to change Naruto's schedule some more so he could teach him how to use the Sharingan. The schedule was only there to help get Naruto a start on training, but now since it has been 2 months, he would take away the schedule and let Naruto train in what he needs to. As he was pouring a glass of orange juice, his mother Mikoto Uchiha walked in. "Oh, good morning, Itachi-kun. Are you heading out again?" Mikoto asked. "Yes, Ka-chan. I will be out all day so you don't have to bother making me any lunch, as I will just go to the village to eat," he stated. "Oh, alright. Have a nice day, okay, Itachi-kun," she said as Itachi nodded and went out the door. "Your father and I have been suspicious of where you go nowadays, Itachi-kun. I might as well follow you to make sure you're not doing anything bad," Mikoto thought as she got on her shoes and followed Itachi while suppressing her chakra. She was a former elite jonin after all, so she could follow after her own son that only did just start Anbu. At the training ground. Once Itachi appeared on the training ground, he had his back to the trees in which Mikoto was hiding in with her Sharingan activated. Who is he waiting for? She thought. It was then Naruto ran onto the training ground and went up to Itachi. She was surprised to see that Itachi was training Naruto from what she got out of reading Naruto's lips when he greeted Itachi with a Itachi-sensei. With Naruto and Itachi. "Okay, today Naruto, I'm going to train you how to use your Sharingan. First, you should understand that the Sharingan is a tool and weapon, and it is not what makes you powerful, as it is the wielder that makes the Sharingan powerful. Do you understand me so far?" he asked, getting a yes from Naruto. "Okay, first thing you should do is channel some chakra into your eyes and activate them. The way you deactivate them is to just stop channeling chakra into your eyes," he explained. Naruto just nodded and started channeling chakra into his eyes. Naruto's sky blue eyes bled into blood red with 1 tomo in each eye. Once finished, both Itachi and Naruto heard a small gasp in the trees behind Itachi. Itachi turned around and called out, "Come out now, we know you are there." Mikoto jumped out of the trees and landed in front of the two. Itachi had a face of shock, while Naruto had a face of confusion. It was Naruto who spoke first. "Who are you, pretty lady?" Naruto asked with a tilt of his head, signaling his confusion. Mikoto faced Naruto and looked down and patted his head. "I'm Mikoto Uchiha and I'm Itachi's mother, my young Uchiha." Chapter 2. Hot Springs, New Sensei, Massacre. Naruto looked at her in shock. The beautiful woman in front of him was Itachi's mother. "You're Itachi's mother? But you look so young," Naruto questioned. Mikoto smiled at Naruto. "Why, thank you. Yes, I'm really Itachi-kun's mother." Itachi interrupted the little talk and asked his own question. "Mom, not to sound rude, but what are you doing here spying on us?" Mikoto looked sheepish at this. "Well, you see, both your father and I have been suspicious of what you have been doing these past 2 months. So since I had a chance, I followed you to see what you were doing, and look what I have found out. Little Naruto-kun here has the Sharingan, even though he shouldn't be an Uchiha. Neither of his parents were Uchiha or had the Sharingan, so I'm just wondering." Itachi just sighed, thinking of all the trouble teaching Naruto would be if the rest of the clan found out about it. The villagers are already suspecting that the Uchiha were the cause of the Kyuubi attack, and that lowered their standing in Konoha. "Mom, please don't tell the rest of the clan that I'm training Naruto. They would make me stop, and Naruto has a lot of potential. I would like to help him realize," Itachi begged. Mikoto was shocked. Itachi never begged for anything. "Don't worry, Itachi-kun, I wasn't going to tell anyone anyways. Now how about I help you train Naruto here?" Itachi gave a thankful smile and nodded. "As you already saw, Naruto has the Sharingan. That is what first brought my attention to Naruto, and after watching him in the academy and saw how the teachers were teaching him, I decided to teach Naruto myself. For the past 2 months I have been training Naruto in the basics in chakra control. Today I was going to start training him in using the Sharingan. Since you have more experience with me with the Sharingan, it would help if you also teach Naruto how to use it." Mikoto showed a bright smile. "Of course I can. Okay Naruto, let's get started. Do you know what the Sharingan does?" "No, the Sharingan is a great tool for battle, but also aspects as well. There is 3 stages to the Sharingan. Each stage is shown with either being 1, 2, or 3 tomo in the eye. The abilities of the Sharingan can all be used with any of the stages, but with the more tomo in the eye the more efficient it will be. The abilities include enhanced vision where you can follow fast movements easier, photographic memory or the ability to copy things, and the ability to see chakra in the body, but not as good as the Byakugan. There is also certain genjutsu only the Sharingan can use as well. Wow, that is really cool. Does that mean I will be able to use those too? Naruto asked. Not at the moment. You still need to train in how to use the Sharingan before you are able to cast genjutsu. Now let's begin with Taijutsu so you can get used to being able to follow fast speed, and with that she got into the Uchiha Interceptor Fist. Let's just say that Naruto got a beating during training. It has been around 3 months since Naruto began training with his Sharingan, and he had finally gotten used to the abilities. Naruto now used it while reading the history, math, and English books, so he could just memorize it like that. At the moment Naruto was currently skipping class to go see Mikoto at the training grounds. Naruto proposed the idea of being dead last at the academy, and both Itachi and Mikoto agreed to it. So in order for his appearance to look like he was an idiot, he had to skip class often to make it look like it. During his time he skips Naruto would meet up with Mikoto, and Mikoto would teach him about medical parts of being a shinobi. She would teach him about what type of plants would poison and what types could heal. She would also help Naruto work on his chakra control, so he could perform medical ninjutsu. It was then that he walked onto training ground 43 and found Mikoto sitting in a clearing. She was reading a book about the human body. Hey Mikoto-chan. Naruto greeted. That was another thing that happened. Mikoto just wanted to be called Mikoto-chan because anything else would make her feel old or important. She doesn't like honorifics that much. I guess you are going to teach me about the human body. Good afternoon Naruto-kun. Yes, I will be teaching you about the human body that are sensitive today and points where you should strike at enemies. Come sit down next to me so I can show you the pictures. Naruto did as he was told and sat down next to her. First we will start off with the male body. There are some points in the body where if attacked, it would cause them a distraction and deliver pain. One part would be the stomach. It isn't the weakest point and won't cause much of a distraction, but it will cause the victim quite a bit of pain. Another would be the crotches. It is the weakest part of the male body that shinobi might go for. This would cause quite the distraction and a lot of pain. Another would be the neck as it is a vulnerable and weak spot. If it is snapped with enough force then it will break, and that would be a fatal thing in the shinobi world. For the female body it is mostly the same, even the crotch would hurt, even though it's not the same as a male's. At this Naruto started blushing as she pointed to the picture of the human body. In a couple of months I will show you how to avoid a female shinobi seducing you and then would later kill you, extract information from you or even rape you if you are important enough for the village to have child of an important clan or a Kekkei Genkai user. Naruto nodded, even though he blushed at the seducing part and how to avoid it. He was only a 7-year-old that was almost 8 after all. It had been 9 months since Mikoto started teaching Naruto about the human body, and Naruto after a while got used to the human body of a female. After Mikoto had Naruto look at some revealing photos of woman. Flashback 3 months ago. At the moment Naruto and Naruto were eating lunch in the forest near the hot springs after a little bit of training. After they both finished their lunch, Mikoto took out a storage scroll and sent chakra into it, and out came a book and a couple of magazines. Mikoto handed Naruto the book and the magazines. Here Naruto, I want you to look through the magazines and read through part of the book while we rest. I want to see something. Naruto nodded and took the book and magazines and began looking through the magazines first. Naruto's face quickly turned dark red as he started turning the pages quickly. Mikoto-chan. Why did you give me this? Naruto cried out in embarrassment. Mikoto looked at Naruto with a smile. Just read a few sentences from any page of the book. Before I answer you. Naruto just nodded and turned to a random page and started reading. Itsuki was roughly grabbed by her breasts and pressed up against the wall by her lover. Tomoya-kun, do you have to be so rough? Tatsuki moaned out as Tomoya's hand started massaging her breasts while sucking on her neck, making a hickey. Tomoya ignored her question as he was beginning to get lost in lust, as his lover was just absolutely wonderful when she is pleasured. I want you now. He spoke as he picked her up and carried her into their room and placed her on the bed. He immediately took off both of their clothes and he leaned forward. Naruto snapped the book closed, beat red from the scene he was reading and was about to read. He looked at Mikoto with wide eyes as she smirked at him like she just proved something right with a question she answered. Mikoto-chan. Why did you have me read this? Isn't this PP porn? If possible. Naruto turned even more red. Mikoto's smirk turned back into a normal smile. I just wanted to prove something I thought of. I needed to make sure you weren't a pervert. Well, a pervert that would have blood leak out of his nose. I wanted to know if you were a secret pervert or not. Even though you are only around 8 years old, you have a mindset of a teenager. We will be going to the hot springs and you will come with me into the woman's side under a henge. This is a test to see if you could handle keeping up a henge even under pressure. What better pressure than being in the woman's bath and getting caught? I wouldn't have you do this test if you were in fact a pervert, though, Mikoto revealed. I will be doing what? Naruto yelled out even more red. Makoto just stood up and turned towards the bathhouse. You heard me, now let's go. Naruto just hanged his head in defeat and followed after her. Before entering the building, Naruto hinged into a teenage girl with waist-length brown hair. She had brown eyes that matched her hair and a pale skin color, but not Uchiha pale. She just wore standard civilian clothes that he's seen on someone in the village before. Makoto walked up to the counter and paid for the two of them to enter the hot springs. After doing that, she signaled for Naruto to follow her. They took a few turns but arrived at the door that led to the woman's side. Without even glancing to see if Naruto was ready, she opened the door and dragged Naruto in. Naruto's eyes widened at the sight of what he just walked into. Flashback end. Naruto was still embarrassed of what happened but not as much. Now with Naruto learning about the human body without distractions, he is fairly knowledgeable about weak points and what would help the body. Naruto now is trying to incorporate the weak points of the human body into his taijutsu, where he not only protects the weak points he has, but he targets his opponent's weak points. Makoto, when she found out about it, was very proud of how Naruto was using his knowledge. Along with the 9 months, Itachi had started training him in the advanced kunai and shuriken throwing, where he had to hit targets that were not in his line of sight. So far Naruto was not doing very well on it. Itachi also taught Naruto the Kage Bunshin, along with more chakra control exercises, with Naruto now able to walk on water while fighting a bunch of clones. Every once in a while he would fall through. Itachi was mainly teaching him the basics of being a shinobi and its advancements. They were both also trying to help him get his Sharingan to fully mature, but they weren't having much luck. There was also another thing that happened over those 9 months. It was around 5 months ago when Naruto played a prank on Itachi. It involved paint balloons, feathers, honey, and lots of fangirls. Let's just say that Naruto's training became hell for the next couple of weeks afterwards. It has been another 3 months since Naruto thought of the hot springs incident and started using the body's weak points in his academy-style taijutsu, and now we find him with both Itachi and Makoto at training ground 43. Hey Itachi, what are we doing during tomorrow? Naruto asked as he just finished his training with both of them. He went through everything he learned with Itachi and he fought Makoto while yelling out parts of the human body and herbs that are poisons and herbs that could help treat injuries. Itachi sighed as it finally came to tell Naruto the bad news. That's the thing, Naruto, I can no longer train you like I have been doing. My father and the rest of the Uchiha clan have been suspicious of what my mother and I do in our free time out in the village. The Uchiha clan right now is having some tension with the village and there is other problems that have been coming up. I have taught you for a year and a half on the basics of being a shinobi along with advanced exercises with them. Any day now they could send out someone to spy on us to figure out what we are doing, and with me training you instead of someone inside the clan will cause huge amounts of problems for the village. I am also going to have to start training my little brother Sasuke in becoming a shinobi just to distract my father from anything else. I'm sorry Naruto, but I can't help you train that often anymore. Itachi apologized with sincerity. Makoto spoke up next, but she got on her knees to face Naruto better. Along with the same things Itachi-kun said, Fugaku has been getting suspicious of me even more. I believe that he believes I'm cheating on him with someone else since in the middle of the day I leave and then I come back sometimes all sweaty from training, but he thinks differently. He hasn't said anything because I know that he has been cheating on me with other Uchiha women, but I don't care anymore since I lost all love for him after Sasuke was born. It would cause problems in the clan if they continued believing it though. You can still skip the academy sometimes and visit me if you want, but make sure no one sees you, she said as she quickly gave Naruto a hug. It's alright. At least you both have given time to even help me with my training and becoming my friends. It's more than I thought I would have, Naruto said as he wiped away some tears. Makoto stood up and after both of them apologized again, Itachi and Makoto used Shunshin to get away. Naruto was left there with a few tears still spilling out of his eyes. It was then that someone else used Shunshin to appear in front of him. When he looked up at them, it was none other than Shunshin no Shisui himself. Shisui had watched Naruto train with Itachi and Makoto and he would say he was impressed at what he saw. Not only did he have the Sharingan, but he was using it effectively in battle. Shisui had a lot more time than Itachi and Makoto did and the clan wasn't suspicious of him and wouldn't even become suspicious of him because of how loyal he was to the clan. Just because he was loyal to the clan didn't mean he follows their stuck-up ways and how arrogant they were. Shisui decided to finish what Itachi started. Aren't you Shisui? Itachi's best friend, right? Naruto asked. Yeah, and I just saw you training and I must admit you're good for your age. I also saw that Itachi and Makoto can't train you any longer due to bringing suspicion from the clan. How about I make you a deal? Shisui offered. What is this deal? Naruto asked in suspicion. Shisui looked a little sheepish. How about I train you? All you have to do is do your best. I have more time than Itachi did to train you anyway, and the clan won't get suspicious of me or what I do, so you don't have to worry about that, so how about it? Naruto looked at him in surprise. Sure, you can train me. I always do my best anyways, Naruto said with a grin. Okay, then we could begin tomorrow. I saw what you did today, so I have an idea of what you need to learn. I come up with something for tomorrow, you just need to show up. Alright, Shisui-sensei. Naruto then ran off to go home. The next day Naruto showed up at the training grounds. He found Shisui already there. Hey, Shisui-sensei. What will we be working on today? Naruto asked in an excited tone. Calm down, Naruto. From what I noticed during your training yesterday, you can only use Genjutsu with your Sharingan. I would like to fix that. I would like for you to use Genjutsu and medical ninjutsu with great chakra control. Even with your large chakra reserves, that would make it impossible for others to do any Genjutsu. I know that Itachi taught you how to use the Kage Bunshin, so I would like for them to do chakra control exercises until you could at least do one Genjutsu without your Sharingan. After that I will begin your elemental training after learning what your elements are, as it would be extremely helpful in the future. Since I know how to use a Tanto, I will also teach you how to use one and teach you a Kenjutsu style. I will also teach you the Uchiha Interceptor Fist since Itachi and Mikoto didn't. Since you're an Uchiha, you should deserve to know it. After your elemental training I will teach you some elemental jutsu to go with your elements. The most important thing is experience. When you are old enough I will take you with me on a bandit clearing mission and I will have you fight them to get the experience, Shisui explained. Naruto nodded and had a megawatt smile on his face. Awesome. Shisui smiled at the attitude. Let's get started then. For the next year Shisui taught Naruto and the two became really close like brothers. They would sometimes play pranks on the village, but only Naruto is caught when they find out about the prank. They would go practice in the most fun of ways and even did challenges against each other. One time Naruto bet Shisui that he couldn't get a date if he just walked up to a girl and use a pickup line. Shisui came back the first time with a red handprint on his face, making Naruto fall over and laugh. It was a couple of weeks ago when Shisui taught Naruto the Shunshin and Naruto picked it up really fast. He still wasn't as good as Shisui, but that was to be expected. Shisui one time did a prank on Naruto, even though Naruto didn't like it, he still found it funny. Shisui was going to introduce Naruto to his crow summonings, but he decided to leave the introductions to the crow. The crow followed Naruto all day, and even while Naruto was eating his ramen, Naruto reached up for his next bowl, but the crow took it and started eating it. Let's just say Naruto chased that crow around for the rest of the day. Since the beginning of Naruto's training under Shisui he had learned the Interceptor Fist for Taijutsu, but he didn't use it that much because it didn't feel right to him. Naruto started learning Kenjutsu from Shisui as Shisui bought Naruto his own Tanto to use. He was only around Genin level with the Tanto, and he hasn't been practicing that much due to him training in other subjects. Okay Naruto, since you have trained your Jonin level reserves up to Jonin level chakra control, I think it's time for me to teach you elemental manipulation, Shisui started. Naruto grinned and asked a question. But how will we know what my elements are, Shisui-sensei? Shisui pulled out 2 pieces of chakra paper and handed one to Naruto. This is chakra paper. Once you channel chakra into it the paper will react to what your affinities are. Your main affinity or affinities will react first. Your secondary affinities will react second and so on, so Shisui channeled chakra into his paper and it started to catch fire, wrinkle, and cut in half. As you can see the fire and obviously my fire affinity, the wrinkling is my lightning affinity, and the paper cutting in half is my wind affinity. I got the fire affinity from my Uchiha blood and maybe the lightning affinity with it. Wind is just my natural affinity, even though no one know that I have one because I don't use it often. Now channel chakra into your piece of paper so we can begin your training. Naruto did as he was told and both of them were shocked at the affinities. Is that supposed to happen, Shisui-sensei? Naruto's paper caught fire, wrinkled, and spit into 2 at the same time, signifying that he had 3 main affinities. That was all, as afterwards the paper turned to dust and was soaked with water, which signified that he had high affinities to both earth and water as well. And no. Only a few has had all 5 affinities before. Like Sandaime-sama also had all 5, and the same could be the same for Kakashi Haddock, but he naturally gained them after using all 5 natures constantly. A kid your age should only have 1 affinity, maybe 2 at most if you have a Kekkei Genkai, but you have all 5. Your main affinities only look slightly more powerful than your secondary affinities. Shisui started smirking like a devil, like he had just gotten away with a prank, and Naruto didn't like that smile. You know what that means, right? Naruto gulped in fear and asked a question he feels like he would regret in the future. What does it mean? Shisui now had a full-blown grin on his face as he told Naruto. It means I will have to train you into the ground every day in order for you to master those affinities as fast as possible. It will be known as Shisui's Hell training. Why do I have to learn it as fast as possible, Shisui-sensei? Naruto asked in confusion. Shisui lost his grin and sighed. There is problems going on in the clan that I thought I got rid of a year ago. There may be a time where I can't teach you for a couple of weeks so I can resolve this problem. There is also the possibility that I may die in battle, and I can't finish training you in your affinities." Naruto yelled out, "But you can't die in battle, what about everyone that cares about you?" "Naruto, I was only telling you something that is a possibility. It isn't impossible for me to die, you know. That is what a shinobi is, we will all one day die, just that matters for a shinobi, if it is on a mission or of old age. As a shinobi I have to expect to lose my life for the village, as I believe a true shinobi must protect the village from within its own shadow." Naruto looked down and nodded. He will take his words to heart and will start using that mindset in the future when he is a shinobi. He raised his head as the thought of the Uchiha problems comes to mind. "Shisui-sensei, what problem is with the clan that you solved last year?" Shisui thought it over as if he should tell Naruto about the coup, lie about it, or not tell him anything at all. He decided to just tell Naruto as he believes Naruto is mature enough to know about it, and Naruto was practically family with him, Itachi, and Makoto. "Alright, I'll tell you. Since the Kyuubi attacked the villagers and some of the shinobi of the village began to lose trust in the Uchiha clan as they believed it was the clan that caused the Kyuubi attack, since while fighting the Kyuubi, some shinobi swore they saw Sharingan in the Kyuubi's eyes. Since Madara Uchiha was able to not only summon the Kyuubi but also able to control it, the village believes that we summoned it and controlled it into attacking the village. The clan doesn't like the spite they are getting and started distancing themselves from the rest of the village, if you haven't noticed." Naruto nodded at this, saying he noticed. After living with it for 6 years they began to believe the Uchiha clan deserves to rule over Konoha, and they began to plan a coup. If this coup even started, then it would have caused a civil war in Konoha, and that would have led to the Fourth Great Shinobi War for many different reasons. I used my Mangekyo Sharingan to cast a Genjutsu over the clan for them to stop the coup, and it worked until now, that is. For some reason they are planning another coup for the same reasons, and I might have to go use my Mangekyo again to stop it, but I fear that one of the higher-ups in Konoha would want the Uchiha clan to be simply eliminated to stop all future problems the clan would cause. If it wasn't for my Genjutsu, I'm sure that he would have went behind Sandaime Sama's back and eliminated the clan himself, and maybe take a few Sharingan from us as well. So in around a year's time I might have to leave again to stop this coup, but that man might give me trouble and try and stop me." Shisui finished. Naruto had wide eyes at the revelation and soon asked questions. "Shisui, who is this man? What is the Mangekyo Sharingan? I thought there was only 3 stages to the Sharingan." Naruto asked, wanting to know as much as possible. Shisui didn't want Naruto to know too much about the Mangekyo, but he knew he had to tell him so he could have knowledge for the future, for if he ever fought a Mangekyo user in the future. "Naruto, it is a forbidden stage of the Sharingan that not many know about due to how it is achieved. For an Uchiha to gain the Mangekyo they would have to experience great amount of grief or sadness. It is believed you would have to kill your best friend to gain it, as the Mangekyo holds a huge amount of power. Power always has its price though, and the price of using the Mangekyo is you will slowly go blind from it. I have a different theory on how to gain the Mangekyo though, as I didn't have to kill anyone close to me. When I first activated my Sharingan I trained with it constantly and I quickly matured it after a couple of years, but not as fast as Itachi did. My family believed that I should be more like Itachi. Why wasn't I a prodigy like Itachi, or why couldn't they have Itachi born into their family instead of me? After hearing all those things it left a mark on me with all the sadness I had from what they said. I activated my Mangekyo. From the forbidden scrolls on the Mangekyo I got my hands on, it was supposed to be much more for me to activate my Mangekyo. I believed that I was already starting to unlock my Mangekyo from training my Sharingan constantly, and with what my family said it just finished evolving it for me. As for this man, it is Danzo Shimura, one of the elders on the council. He is a very secretive and manipulative man that is hungry for power and wants to become Hokage. I want you to stay away from this man and keep your Sharingan a secret at all cost from this man, as he might try to steal yours, since you are not protected by the Uchiha clan. Shisui finished with a serious tone, but still had a few tears coming out of his eyes. Naruto couldn't believe it. That all happened to him. But Shisui is always so happy and carefree. Why did you tell me this? Shouldn't you keep this a secret as it is really important? Naruto asked. Naruto, I told you because I believed you deserved to know. You are like a brother to me, just like Itachi. Heck, even though you are only 9 years old, you have a mindset of a teenager, so it feels like I'm talking to someone much older. I also consider you my best friend along with Itachi, and I believe Itachi thinks of you the same way. Though I don't know about Makoto because I have no idea what goes on in that woman's head." They both started laughing at that until they both calmed down a few moments later. "Shisui, you still haven't told me everything, have you? Do you know who else has the Mangekyo?" Naruto asked. "No, I haven't. I told you everything about the Mangekyo because I would like for you to activate it yourself through constantly working your Sharingan. As for who else has the Mangekyo, the only person I know besides me that has it that is still alive is Makoto when she unlocked her during the Third Great Shinobi War. From today onwards you will be using your Sharingan in almost everything you do. While you have clones training in how to use your affinities, I will be training you in Kenjutsu, Taijutsu, Jinjutsu, Ninjutsu, and Shuriken Jutsu. You will have to also work on your chakra control once in a while, because I'm sure your reserves will get larger during training. Now let's begin. Shisui finished with a shout. For the next year Naruto had clones work on his fire, wind, and lightning affinities while he trained with Shisui in the physical stuff. Naruto had improved a bunch in such a short amount of time. By the end of the year Naruto was already low Chunin level in experience, and if you just counted his skill set, it would be high Chunin to low Jonin level. He just needs to know how to use the information properly and fighting experience to be Jonin level. Even with the amount of training Naruto did with his Sharingan he never did activate it, and Naruto was disappointed by that. Shisui was also allowed to take Naruto on a bandit clearing mission, with secret permission from the Sandaime, as he already told the Sandaime about him training Naruto. We'll save how that mission for later as it was filled with problems and experience. Naruto obviously didn't learn from his time with Itachi about pranking them as Shisui upgraded Naruto's training to Shisui's Hell version 2. Naruto was even more tired afterwards than usual, and when Naruto went to the academy, everyone laughed at him, thinking that he was just really tired from doing pranks or something. They would never know how hard Shisui could train him into the ground as they never truly trained in their lives. Even the clan heirs. During the 2 years of training under Shisui, Itachi and Mikoto would help Shisui train him or even just come over to just hang out with him. A couple times they snuck out of the village to eat at a neighboring town to go eat as a group. It brought a smile to Naruto every time he thought about it. But such a great year of being with them, Naruto didn't know how close he was to losing all of them. It was another night in Konoha was it? There was a figure in one of the training grounds that looked like they just got done with a fight and they were pretty injured. They got some blood and ran through a couple hand signs before slamming their hand on the ground summoning a creature. He gave a scroll to the summon as it left to go towards its destination. On another part of the village in the Uchiha compound, you could find dead bodies littering the streets. Another figure was running from house to house killing the Uchiha clan members. If the figure's goal was to kill everyone they still had a few houses left before anyone else arrives at the compound. In Naruto's apartment he was fast asleep, even though Shisui said that there wasn't any training that day Naruto still trained by himself. The summon that was summoned earlier started pecking at the window next to Naruto's bed. Naruto slowly woke and turned on the lights and went to the window. The summon was none other than Crow of the Crow summons. It's weird to be named after what you are, but Naruto didn't speak about it when he and Crow first met which was when Crow stole his ramen. Opening up the window Naruto grabbed the scroll Crow was carrying and quickly read it. Naruto's eyes widened a little as he was surprised. Turning to Crow he spoke. Do you know why he wants me to meet him at training ground 31 Crow? Naruto asked. All he got was a shake of its head no before it returned to the summoning realm. Why would Shisui want me to meet him at training ground 31 in full shinobi gear in the middle of the night? Naruto wondered. After quickly getting dressed in his shinobi gear with his own tanto strapped to his back Naruto quickly jumped out of his window and used Shunshin to get to the training grounds. Once arrived he didn't see Shisui anywhere on the field next to the Naka River, he decided to wait a few minutes for him. After a couple of minutes multiple cloaked shinobi jumped out of the forest and attacked him. From what Naruto saw there was 7 of them, and under the cloaks they wore Naruto saw then a symbol under the moonlight. Why are you attacking me? What does Danzo want with me? Naruto yelled out as he jumped back from a swipe from a tanto. One of the Naanbu members answered. Danzo-sama want your eyes and with that they continued their attack. Naruto's mind begun to run a mile a minute as he thought over the situation in his head. Shisui said he was going to meet up with him here, but he wasn't and all he got was Na attacking him for his eyes. Naruto came up with one conclusion, these Na members already fought Shisui and took his eyes, and now they were coming after his. With the thought of Shisui dying Naruto fought hard. After fighting for 10 minutes, Naruto managed to destroy 6 of them, that turned out to be just clones. He used a combination of Jinjutsu, Taijutsu, and a few ninjutsu to fight them off. Since they already knew about his Sharingan Naruto used that as well, but he was still tired out after fighting 6 of them. Thinking that the 7th one was just a clone as well Naruto charged and stabbed the 7th cloaked member in the stomach. He was surprised when he didn't dispel, and he finally noticed that he could see a single Sharingan eye under the mask. Naruto shakily removed the cloak and mask to come face to face with Shisui. Naruto's eyes widened in horror at what he was seeing. Shisui, why did you do it? Why did you make me think that you were Na? Naruto yelled out with tears streaming down his face. Shisui coughed up more blood as he looked at Naruto with his single Sharingan eye. I was already dying Naruto. I wanted to see how much you improved under me before I died. You wouldn't have fought me all out in a death match if you knew it was me, so I disguised myself as Na to get you to fight all out, Shisui answered truthfully. But why are you dying? What happened? Naruto asked while crying. Remember what I told you a year ago about the Uchiha clan planning another coup? Naruto nodded and realization slowly appeared on his face. The Sandaime sent me to use my Mangekyo on them again to stop the coup for good this time, but on my way I was stopped by Danzo and his members. I managed to kill Danzo, but it seemed he had a Sharingan already, and he used a forbidden Sharingan jutsu to bring himself back to life, and he managed to steal my right eye because I was surprised. Knowing that I couldn't win anymore, I managed to get away where Itachi found me. I already told him that I was dying and it was too late. Without my Mangekyo I can't stop the coup, so we lost and Danzo won. In order to stop a civil war from starting, the elimination of the Uchiha clan is unavoidable. That is what Itachi is doing now, though he will spare all the children that didn't know about the coup along with Mikoto, since she was against the coup in the first place. He should be here soon, but I will be gone by then. Naruto, I want you to have this scroll, and it has every jutsu idea thought of that might work along with the crow summoning contract. Itachi and I are the only summoners of the Crow clan, and they only allow 2 summoners at a time, but since I will be dead soon, it won't matter. Shisui takes the tanto out of his stomach with a painful cry, and along with his own tanto gave them to Naruto. He reached up and plucked out his left eye and implanted it into a crow that landed on his shoulder, and he handed Naruto the crow, where it then dispelled. Naruto, I would like to give you my remaining eye as I only trust you and Itachi with it, but I don't believe Itachi will need it, so it's yours, Shisui explained as he walked towards the cliff and turned towards Naruto. Naruto, I want you to know that I am very proud of who you are becoming and your training. I know I said this before, but I consider you as a brother and my best friend. Goodbye Naruto, and I hope you can forgive me for what I have done, and with that Shisui used Shunshin over the cliff and down towards the Naka River. Naruto fell to his knees facing the cliff with an expression of pure sadness and grief. Unconsciously he played over what Shisui told him. Naruto, I want you to know that I am very proud of who you are becoming and your training. I know I said this before, but I consider you as a brother and my best friend. Goodbye Naruto, and I hope you can forgive me for what I have done. Naruto's let out a loud cry as his eyes changed from a fully mature Sharingan to an 8-rounded star with a blood-red ring in the middle. The star was on the blood-red color Sharingan pupil. After a couple of moments Itachi appeared in front of him and Naruto looked up and Itachi gasped. What Naruto saw was that Itachi had spots all over his Anbu uniform and he was carrying a scroll. Itachi. Naruto spoke. It's me Naruto. Even though you just went through something, I would like to congratulate you on activating your Mangekyo, Itachi said. Naruto's eyes widened at this and his quickly looked into his tanto that was next to him and saw his 8-rounded star Mangekyo. Ignoring it for now, Naruto looked back at Itachi and asked a question that had him bothered ever since he heard from Shisui about what he was doing. Itachi about the clan he didn't finish because he knew he got the question through. Itachi let more tears fall from his eyes as he answered. Yes, I just finished. I left the children that didn't know alive, but that was only around 15 out of the 125 Uchiha members before. Naruto didn't hear anything about Mikoto be among those survivors, and his heart started beating faster as he asked. Itachi, what about Mikoto-chan? More tears fell out of his eyes as he lowered his eyes. When I arrived at my parents' bedroom, I found that Fugaku had impaled a sword through her. I killed Fugaku as soon as possible, but it was already too late, she was going to bleed out in a minute. Before she died she wanted me to take her eyes and give them to you. I didn't know why until she activated her Mangekyo. Even though you are not a full-blooded Uchiha and not related to Mikoto, the transplant would still work because of you having Senju DNA in you. Itachi handed over the scroll he was carrying to Naruto, who was now sobbing with his Mangekyo still activated. He would remember this for the rest of his life. And the scroll contains her eyes along with some jutsu I wanted to teach you as well as other things, Itachi explained as Naruto looked at the scroll. I now know why Shisui did the things he did. He wanted his death to mean something, and I believe helping you achieve your Mangekyo was an effort for you to remember him by. Naruto, when you are used to your Mangekyo, transplant my mother's eyes into you so you can gain the eternal Mangekyo Sharingan. Itachi then put his mask back on and prepared to leave. Naruto, I am also proud of what you are becoming and how your training has progressed, even though I was only able to train you for a year and a half. Shisui probably already told you this, but I also see you as a brother and a best friend. I would like for Sasuke to come avenge his clan by killing me, because I have already tainted the name, so for that I am sorry. Sasuke also activated his Sharingan, so if he doesn't remember, don't tell him he has it, or I fear he will become arrogant, and that would be the end of him. One last thing, underneath the meeting hall is a secret meeting room and also the place where the Uchiha tablet is. Once you're ready, read it, it will explain a lot to you. Goodbye Naruto, I hope you could forgive me in the future even though I don't deserve it. Take care of the other Uchiha kids for me. And with that, Itachi shunshin away to report to the Hokage, and he soon after left the village. Naruto just stayed on his knees for a long time thinking through everything. Everything was just fine until a few hours ago, and now he lost everything. Naruto couldn't handle the stress anymore and screamed into the night sky and fell over unconscious. Chapter end. Chapter 3. meeting, cemetery, training. It was now morning in Konoha, and news of the Uchiha massacre by the hands of Itachi Uchiha was spreading like wildfire, as it was the only thing everyone was talking about. Currently an Anbu squad was doing its routine check around the village, they were just passing the training grounds. Wait. An Inyazuka member called out. He then started sniffing the air with his chakra-enhanced nose. Blood. He smelled blood on one of the training grounds, more than what should he for simple training. I smell blood. It's a couple of hours old, but it's more blood than simple training should cause. It's in one of the training grounds. The team then searched the grounds for 5 minutes, until the Hyuga member found the source of the blood. I found the source. It looks like it's coming from a boy. She called out. They all appeared next to Naruto, and the Anbu captain spoke. Isn't this the prankster from hell? The Kyuubi Jinchuriki? Why is he out here covered in blood? Use your Byakugan to see if he is alright, Rabbit, he ordered. Turning on her Byakugan, she noticed that the boy's chakra reserves were low, and he looked fine other than that. Taicho, he seems to be low on chakra, but other than that he seems fine. We need to take him to the hospital and report it to the Hokage fast though. Rabbit then picked Naruto up in a bridal-style carry and used Shunshin to get to the hospital, while the rest of her team went to inform the Hokage. Hokage's office. Hiruzen was busy working on the paperwork that the Uchiha massacre caused. He just finished a pile of paperwork when an Anbu team appeared in front of him. Ignoring the paperwork for the time being, he straightened up and looked at the Anbu captain. Report. Hokage-sama, while on our patrol around the village we passed the training grounds, more specifically training ground 31, where Rhino found the scent of blood. Deciding to investigate, Rabbit found Naruto Uzumaki in shinobi clothing covered in blood. Uzumaki also had 2 tantos with him, one of them having a significant amount of blood on it. There was also 2 scrolls with him, and at the moment Uzumaki is at the hospital being watched over by Rabbit, the captain reported. Hiruzen's eyes widened at the news as he quickly rose from his desk. Thank you, go back to your duties. He didn't even wait for the captain to respond as he used Shunshin to get inside the hospital and went over to the front desk. Where is Naruto Uzumaki's room? He ordered. The woman was at the front desk was surprised and quickly looked into the computer. I in room 201, Lord Hokage, she answered. Hiruzen quickly raced down the hall and opened the door to Naruto's room and walked in. Walking up to the doctor in charge, he asked for what's wrong with him. Well, Hokage-sama, there isn't much wrong. All of the blood on Uzumaki wasn't his, and I have been keeping this private to all but you and me, but when I looked in the database to see whose it was, it turned out to be Shisui Uchiha's. Uzumaki only had small cuts on his body that was already healing, but other than that nothing else seems to be wrong. Young Uzumaki just seems to lock himself away in his own consciousness, and it would be days before he wakes up. We could forcefully wake him up if you wanted, but it isn't recommended due to the fact that he needs to process the information from whatever happened last night. We will keep an eye on him for the time being until he wakes. That's all I have at the moment, Hokage-sama. Hiruzen nodded yes, thank you. Walking over to the bed, Hiruzen looked at Naruto with sad eyes and whispered to get well soon and left back to his office. Inside Naruto's mind, Naruto woke up in what looked like a sewer. It doesn't really matter to him that much, he felt like he belongs in the sewer. Any chance that Shisui had it living was gone because of him, even though Shisui told him it was okay. Why? Why did it have to end this way, he asked himself as he slowly stood. Activating his Sharingan and then his Mangekyo, Naruto looked down at the water to see what he looked like. He could see it in his eyes, they were cold and filled with guilt and sadness. Looking up at the walls and ceiling, Naruto could see chakra flowing through them coming from the direction he was facing. He found it strange that he had 3-4 different colored chakra: blue, green, silver, and red. The blue and green chakra seemed to merge together to form the silver chakra, even though it's only a little bit. The red chakra was completely different as it looked way more potent and dark, filled with hatred. Deciding that he needed time to think anyways, he walked forward and towards the sources of chakra. He already had a clue on what the red chakra belonged to, but he was curious to know what the other 3 were. It took him around an hour of walking to find his way to a huge chamber with a gate in the middle of it, with a piece of paper in the middle, having the kanji for Fuin on it. So I was right in my assumption that I'm a Jinchuriki. Naruto spoke in a monotone voice. Behind the gate a pair of red eyes opened and looked at the boy. It would seem you figured it out yourself. Are you not angered or confused? The Kyuubi asked. Naruto just shook his head. No, I don't want to be angered or confused over it, as I just went through something that had a lot of confusion. I am still confused on what I should do though. I just lost my most precious people, and I'm angered at what happened, and I'm confused at why it had to happen, but most of all I understand why it had to happen, and I don't want to feel like a monster, because I understand why it happened, and why I had to do the things I did, Naruto confessed. You could hear each of the emotions he spoke of in his voice, and it interested the Kyuubi. The Kyuubi looked at Naruto in interest. You interest me, child. There is something about you that reminds me of someone from a long time ago. There is also the way you act too. the Kyuubi mentioned. Naruto looked at the fox in confusion. How is the way I act interest you? It's who you're related to. Since the blood of your Uchiha ancestor was never recorded, you won't find out about that man. From your Senju blood, you're related to that blasted Shodaime Hokage. Hashirama Senju. Kyuubi spat out the name. Naruto's eyes widened at the fact that he was related to the Shodaime Hokage. Who is this Uchiha ancestor I'm related to then? How do you know that I'm related to them? Naruto asked. The Kyuubi's eyes then filled with hatred as he spoke the name. Madara Uchiha. I know you're related to them because your chakra is very similar to theirs if you untangle your chakra from your two different families. That's why you interest me in the way you act. You don't act like either of them, but yet at the same time you have similar qualities as they both had. For those reasons I will let you use my chakra whenever you need to, but be warned that I won't take the anger and hatred from my chakra. He then turned and went deeper into the cage, but before he fell asleep he heard Naruto yell out, then I will get rid of all your hatred and become your friend one. For the next few days Naruto thought over everything that has happened to him since he was 6. He figured out what he needed to do for the future, along with what his Mangekyo abilities were. From what Shisui said about the Mangekyo Sharingan, you need to unlock both Mangekyo Jutsu before he could use Susanoo. His Mangekyo's right eye's ability would be almost impossible for him to unlock with what it needs to do so, being extremely rare. After thinking over everything, Naruto felt a little better about things, but he was still sad at the loss of his best friend. Outside of Naruto's mind, it had been 4 days since Naruto was admitted to the hospital, and at the moment it was around 7 in the morning, as the sun was just now starting to show. Naruto opened his eyes and found himself in a hospital room. He looked at himself and saw that he was in a hospital gown as well. His eyes widened and he quickly looks around the small room for his stuff and sighs in relief as it was sitting on a chair, along with a fresh pair of a copy of his old shinobi clothes. He pulls the blankets out of the way and takes the time to stretch out his muscles before putting on his shinobi gear and strapping both tantos to his back in a crisscross way. Shisui's tanto facing towards his right hand and his own facing his left hand. After making sure he grabbed both scrolls, he jumped out of the window and used Shunshin to appear right outside the Hokage's window, suppressing his chakra to the best of his capabilities. He activated his Sharingan and then his Mangekyo and cast a strong Sharingan Jinjutsu over the Anbu in the office and had them leave, which surprised the Hokage. Since the Mangekyo is stronger than the regular Sharingan, Naruto was able to keep the Jinjutsu on the Anbu. Naruto then knocked on the window, alerting Hiruzen of his presence. Turning around, Hiruzen's eyes widened at seeing Naruto attached to the wall outside his window. He quickly opened the window and let Naruto jump in. Naruto-kun, how are you feeling? Can you tell me what you were doing at Training Ground 31 unconscious? Hiruzen questioned but still had concern in his voice. Naruto relaxed into a chair in front of the desk and gave a serious stare at the Sandaime. I know the truth of the massacre, Jiji. Those 8 words froze Hiruzen as he looked at Naruto in shock and sadness. And Naruto-kun, what are you talking about? He asked, trying to act like he doesn't know anything. Naruto gave him a flat look, saying, I think you know, Jiji. I know Danzo ordered the Itachi to massacre the clan because they were planning a coup. Shisui told me before he died, Naruto revealed. Hiruzen gained a sorrowful look as he looked at Naruto. I'm sorry, Naruto, but it had to happen even though I wish it hadn't. I know it had to happen, Jiji. I don't like it either, but I understand the threat to the village if it didn't happen. I'm still sad and will miss them dearly, well, some of them anyways. You asked for what happened to me, right? Yes, Naruto-kun, what happened to Shisui and why were you at Training Ground 31? Naruto took a couple of calming breaths before answering. At around 11 that night I heard something knocking on my window, and when I did I saw that it was one of Shisui's summons holding a letter for me. He said to get into my shinobi gear and meet him at Training Ground 31. When I arrived I waited for a couple minutes until I was attacked by cloaked shinobi, 7 of them. While fighting them I noticed a symbol on their masks and I asked what would Danzo want with me. Naruto revealed, and Hiruzen was about to ask a question until Naruto continued. Who I assumed was the leader answered me saying that Danzo wanted my eyes. Only Shisui, Itachi and Makoto knew about my eyes, and Shisui was supposed to meet me at that training ground, so I assumed they got Shisui and took his eyes along with somehow getting the information about me from him. Naruto was then interrupted, this time by Hiruzen. Naruto-kun, what do you mean he wanted your eyes? Naruto's eyes turned into the Sharingan as he looked at Hiruzen, who was shocked at seeing them. Naruto-kun, how do you have those eyes? Hiruzen asked, ordered. Naruto waved it off. Simple, I'm in a Uchiha. You'll find out from who soon though. As I was saying before though, after I assumed that I got angry and I attacked the members. It took me 10 minutes to defeat 6 of them, only leaving the 7th one, who I assumed was the leader. Turned out all of the ones I defeated were just Kage Bunshin, so I once again assumed that the 7th one was also a Bunshin, and the real one was just hiding in the forest. When I attacked him and managed to impale him with my tanto, he didn't dispel like the others like I thought he would. It was then that his hood and mask fell off, showing me that it was Hiruzen. Interrupted him again. Shisui Uchiha. Hiruzen exclaimed. Naruto looked surprised at this. Yes, how did you know? When the Anbu team found you, they found your two tantos next to you. One of them was covered in blood. When we tested the blood, we found out it was Shisui's. Naruto nodded with a sad face. That makes sense. Anyways, Shisui was already dying as he was already attacked beforehand, and since he was dying already, he wanted to test me to see how far I have come since he started training me. He said he was proud of me and that Itachi was killing the clan as we spoke. He gave me a scroll filled with ideas of his he never got to work out along with other things. Afterwards he jumped off the cliff into the Naka River, killing himself. It was a couple of minutes later when Itachi showed up and explained some things to me, along with how he spared all the children, even though there weren't that many. I asked about Mikoto and if he killed her as well. Naruto said as his voice quivered a little at Mikoto's name. He took a couple of times to calm down again. Hiruzen knew that Itachi killed Mikoto as well, given that her corpse was among the dead, but was surprised at what Naruto said next. Itachi started crying silently as he explained that when he got there and entered his parents' room, was that Fugaku had stabbed Mikoto. After he killed Fugaku, Mikoto spoke her last words to him before she died as well. Naruto let out a few tears as he said this. Afterwards Itachi also gave me a scroll with some things in it, along with how proud he was of me. He left the village afterwards, leaving me alone in the training ground. That is where I fell unconscious from the stress of everything, Naruto explained. Hiruzen didn't get all of the answers he was looking for. That still doesn't explain where you got the Sharingan in your family. Well, after I fell unconscious and went into my mindscape where I met the Kyuubi. Hiruzen froze at this. The Kyuubi explained his interest in me because of the way I act, even though my chakra when separated to show the similarity to each of my parents, felt very similar to two people he hates, Naruto explained. Hiruzen still wanted to know who these two people were though, and asked again. Naruto, who are these two people that the Kyuubi hates? Madara Uchiha and Hashirama Senju, revealed Naruto. Hiruzen's pipe fell out of his mouth as he dropped his jaw in shock. Hey, are you sure, Naruto? He asked, dropping the kun because of the seriousness. Yeah, Gigi. Pretty cool, right? Naruto said with a smile to try and liven up the atmosphere. Hiruzen smiled at this. Yeah, I guess it is pretty cool, isn't it? He then turned serious. Naruto, I'm sure you know this already, but you can't tell anyone else about the massacre and your Sharingan, alright? Naruto nodded. Yeah, I know how important it is, Gigi. I am an Uchiha after all, and I don't my clan to be spoken bad of just because of others' actions in the clan. It is what Itachi and Shisui sacrificed everything for after all. Gigi, did the funeral pass already? Naruto asked in a sobered tone. Hiruzen nodded sadly to Naruto at that. Yes, I'm sorry, Naruto, but you were still unconscious. It happened 2 days ago and you have been unconscious for 4 days. You also missed some days at the academy, but I doubt you missed anything you already didn't know, did you? Naruto-kun, I haven't got to ask you this before, but why do you stay dead last at the academy when you could be rookie of the year? It's a lesson Itachi taught me when I first started training under him. Naruto then told him what happened. Flashback. Naruto and Itachi was currently at training ground 43, beginning Naruto's second week of training. Before they started anything, Itachi spoke to Naruto about something important. Naruto, I noticed that you started using the things I taught you in the academy, is that true? Naruto nodded excitedly. Yeah, Itachi-sensei. I want to prove everyone wrong that I'm not a stupid and untalented student. I want everyone to acknowledge me, so I have to be Hokage, and to be Hokage, you have to be the strongest shinobi in the village. Itachi sighed at that. The boy still didn't understand the title of Hokage. He'll learn sooner or later anyways, no use talking to him about it at the moment. Naruto, I would like for you to stop showing what I teach you at the academy and for you to continue being dead last, Itachi ordered. That dropped Naruto's grin and gave him a frown. But why do I have to do that, Itachi-sensei? I want to be the Hokage and I have to show people I'm the strongest. He shouted. Itachi shook his head at Naruto. Let me ask you this, Naruto. What is the greatest tool the shinobi have? Naruto didn't waste a second to answer. It's jutsu and stuff, right? No, Naruto, it isn't. Jutsu is a great tool for a shinobi, but shinobi can become great without it. The greatest tool a shinobi have is the mind. Most use the mind to deceive others to think other things than what is actually going on. Deception is a great tool, and I would like for you to use it even now. With everyone believing that you are the dead last, they would underestimate you. Being underestimated can bring a huge advantage in battle, physically or mentally. It is much better to be underestimated than having someone overestimate you and prepare a lot. Naruto's eyes widened at the new information. He thought it over a bit in his head and nodded to Itachi, saying he understood. Flashback end. Hiruzen nodded at that. Itachi is right, the mind is a very dangerous tool in the hands of a shinobi. Well, Naruto-kun, thank you for telling me everything, and if there is anything else, you know where to find me. Okay, Gigi, I'm going to the cemetery, see you later. Naruto then returned back to the window and jumped out of it. Cemetery. After Naruto left the Hokage's office, he dropped the genjutsu he put on the Anbu, and as he left he could hear them rush back into the room. Naruto was now enter through the entrance to the cemetery, as it looked to be around 8 in the morning now. There was only one other person in the cemetery from what Naruto could see as he walked around and looked for the Uchiha graves. It took him around 5 minutes to find them, and it was in the general direction of where the other person was in. He went down row by row looking for both Mikoto's grave and Shisui's. It was until he was a couple of braves away from the other person in the cemetery did he realize that said person was standing in front of Mikoto's grave, since the Uchiha clan lay in alphabetical order. Walking over next to the person, he laid down one of the white roses he brought with him onto her gravestone and stepped back next to the person, leaving them both in complete silence. It was several moments later did the person speak, revealing themselves to be female around the same age as Naruto. "Did you know Mikoto Uchiha?" she asked in a monotone voice. Naruto looked at her as she pulled down her hood, revealing her jet black hair, pale skin, and red eyes. Not as in Sharingan red, but kind of like a watercolor red. "Yes, I did. She helped me become the person I am today and was also my friend." "Did you know her?" Naruto asked. She didn't say anything for a couple of seconds. "Yeah, she was my aunt on my mother's side. She was supposed to help me train in my Sharingan I recently activated, but Itachi killed her the day before we were supposed to meet up." She clenched her fists as she mentioned Itachi's name. Naruto debated telling her the truth about Itachi not killing her and how it was Fugaku. It was a few seconds he decided to tell her, given that someone should at least know that Fugaku killed Mikoto and not Itachi. "It wasn't Itachi that killed her," Naruto stated. The girl quickly faced Naruto with a little anger on her face as she spoke. "Of course Itachi killed her. Itachi killed everyone besides the children. How would you know Itachi killed her or not?" "It's because Itachi was my sensei that caught the girl by surprise. I know Itachi didn't kill her because he loved her too much. They both helped in training me since I was 6 years old. Itachi also stopped by my apartment before he left the village telling me the truth." "What truth was that? Why would Itachi kill his entire family and clan?" "I don't know why Itachi killed the clan," he lied. "But I know whatever the clan did to anger Itachi, Mikoto was not a part of it. Itachi said that since I was his student I deserved to know what he did from him personally and not from someone else that could make up something different. He said by the time he made it into his parents' bedroom, he found Fugaku holding a sword that was stabbed into Mikoto, which killed her. Itachi said that Fugaku was angry at Mikoto for some reason and he decided to kill her for it. I didn't try to stop Itachi from leaving because what could I do? I am around low chunin to mid chunin level in skill, but that doesn't mean I can take on an Anbu captain," Naruto explained. He had to admit that he came up with a very good lie quickly. "Rya's Uchiha, huh?" came Naruto's uneducated response. "My name is Rya's Uchiha. What is yours?" she asked. "Oh, my name is Naruto Uzumaki, prankster from hell." Naruto introduced himself as thumb towards his face and smiled. The girl looked at him strangely. "Aren't you the dead last in the year above me at the academy?" the girl asked in disbelief. "Sure am," Naruto confirmed. "If you were trained by Itachi and Mikoto, then how are you dead last?" "It wouldn't make sense," she tried to reason. "It's what Itachi told me once. The mind is a dangerous tool for a shinobi. If everyone believed I was the dead last, then they would underestimate me. It is always better to be underestimated than being overestimated. So after telling me that he told me to stay being the dead last." Rhea stopped looking so disbelieved after she heard the reasoning behind it. They kept quiet for a few moments until Rhea asked another question. "Hey Naruto, I was wondering about something." "What about?" "Even though you're not an Uchiha and don't have the Sharingan, you did learn from both Itachi and Mikoto, so you must know how it works, right? I was wondering if you could help me train in using mine. Mikoto was going to help me because I wasn't doing very well like an Uchiha normally does in the academy, and she was going to help me understand what I need to do to get better," she asked. Naruto turned to her with his own Sharingan activated. "Now who said I wasn't an Uchiha and didn't have the Sharingan? But yeah, I will help you train in using the Sharingan and other aspects of being a shinobi. You are going to have to improve a bunch in the academy though, and not copy me in being the dead last, as we need to show that the Uchiha clan is still as strong as ever even without the numbers. Why, you have the Sharingan too, and it's fully matured as well. When did you activate yours?" Rhea asked as she pointed at his eyes. "Well, I activated mine on accident when I was 6. It was the next day that Itachi found me and started training me because he noticed I had the Sharingan when I came home the day before, and since I have a large amount of chakra and I didn't know how to control my chakra, my Sharingan stayed activated. Luckily no one saw it besides Itachi, or it would have caused major problems," he answered. She didn't say anything more as she waited for Naruto. It was after a couple moments did Naruto move and continued down the rows with Rhea's following him. He stopped at Shisui's grave and laid the second white rose down on his gravestone and stepped back again next to Rhea's. "Did you know Shisui as well?" she asked. Yeah, he was my best friend and brother in all but blood. He also started teaching me after a year and a half when Itachi and Mikoto couldn't anymore without raising suspicion from the clan, as Itachi and Mikoto were training someone outside of the clan that wasn't an Uchiha. Naruto said make quotation marks with his hands when he said wasn't an Uchiha. Shisui trained you too, I should stop being surprised about you now with all of the stuff you told me so far, Rias exclaimed. Naruto chuckled. Yes you should, yes you should. Now let's go, I have to show you something so I can begin training you, and with that Naruto ran off with Rias following. Training Ground 4. It took 20 minutes to get to Training Ground 4 for both Naruto and Rias. What are we doing here? Are you going to help train me here? Rias questioned. Naruto shook his head. No, this is the entrance to where I'm going to train you. Not even Itachi, Shisui, or Mikoto knew about this place I'm going to help train you at. I rarely come here anymore ever since Shisui started training me, as he had more time than Itachi and Mikoto to train me. The place I'm taking you to is where I activated my Sharingan and trained whenever I wasn't being trained by any of them, and it's quite a place too, Naruto answered. Naruto led her towards a bush that was surrounded by a couple of boulders. After crawling into the bush, Naruto grabbed onto a hidden latch and pulled it upwards, revealing the hidden passageway and ladder he first used to escape that hidden training ground base. Follow me, it's this way. Make sure to close the hatch and activate your Sharingan so you can see, Naruto warned her. After running for about 5 minutes they arrived at the actual training grounds. Welcome to my personal training grounds I found. Naruto said, gesturing the place with his arms. Rias looked around the huge chamber. Wow, it's huge. Yeah, a little too big for just me, so might as well have you here to help you train in the shinobi arts, Naruto explained with a shrug of his shoulders. So what are you going to teach me first? Rias asked as she sat down on a nearby chair that fortunately been in the chamber. Naruto turned to her. I'm going to teach you everything that Itachi started first teaching me, Naruto started. Once he saw the excited look on Ria's face he smirked. He started me off with the basics of everything and then taught me the advanced basics shinobi don't even learn and they don't even teach at the academy, he finished. Ria's excited look instantly vanished from her face as she looked at Naruto in doomed shock. You're going to start teaching me the basics? The academy already went through the basics, why do we have to start at the basics? Rias asked. It's because even though the academy starts at the basics, they only do the basics of the basics, and they don't go in depth of how much and important the basics are. Like chakra control, it's basic and all the academy teaches you about it is that you need it to help control your chakra for jutsu and other things. They don't tell you that the more you better you chakra control and use the precise amount of chakra needed for a jutsu, it will be a lot more powerful than a jutsu that is filled with more chakra for the same jutsu. If you could use a powerful jutsu more often with better chakra control than when you didn't and you wasted more chakra, would you work on your chakra control? Naruto asked. Yeah, I would, Rias said in defeat. Right now I can start training you in everything I can. For the next couple of weeks Naruto started teaching her the basics of what he learned from Itachi, and since she already learned most of the stuff in the academy, all she really had to do was master a couple things and learn a few others before Naruto started teaching her the advanced basics they don't even teach at the academy. By the end of each day she was dead tired since the exercises were meant for a stamina freak like Naruto. Once realizing this, Naruto toned down the exercises a little, but she still went to bed dead tired after each day of training. It has been around a month and a half since the Uchiha massacre, and Naruto decided to open the scrolls he got from Shisui and Itachi. Picking up both scrolls from his desk in the library, he went to one of the nearby tables and sat down in a chair. Opening the one from Shisui first, he unraveled the scroll, and a note fell out. Picking up the note he began to read. Dear Naruto, I'm sorry things had to come to this, as I wish to see what you would do to the world, as I know that it is you that will bring peace to these war-torn lands, as conflict is always arising. Ever since I first met you on that training ground I knew that if I got involved with you, I won't ever be able to leave, and I'm glad. I am glad I was able to hang out with you and be a best friend to you. I would as far as go and say I see as a little brother I never had, but I can't say that as I feel like you are my brother, so I can't say a little brother I never had. There will be decisions in the future that you're not going to like, along with hard paths you will have to travel on, but I know that you can handle them because you're my little bro. As you probably already know, but if you don't I'll say it. In this scroll I left everything that I thought was precious to me, along with the crow summoning contract. They have already agreed to have you as their summoner, so you don't have to worry about that, so take care of them for me, okay? Along with the summoning contract I have my personal journal that have my own ideas in it, along with experience of my own from my life, but please make sure you keep it safe, as it holds information of jutsu ideas that could be dangerous if used against the village. I left you with all my money that I had on me, so it doesn't get put into the Uchiha clan's money account. I have a gift for you that I want you to only open when you become a Genin, Chunin, and then Jonin. Goodbye Naruto, sincerely, Shisui Uchiha your older brother. Naruto let tears run freely and drip onto the piece of paper he held for a couple of minutes before he decided to put it down and channel chakra into the storage scroll. From the scroll came 6 items, the scrolls saying money, genin, chunin, and jonin. The 2 journals being named Jutsu Ideas and Diary. First opening up the Jutsu Idea journal, Naruto skimmed through it until he lands on a certain page. Naruto grins while wiping away the tears falling from his eyes. Shisui, you sure are a genius in your own right coming up with this idea. I'm going to complete this jutsu and make it famous just for you. Naruto promised. After looking through the journal some more, he decided to open up Itachi's scroll. Another note fell out and Naruto once again began reading. Hello Naruto, I'm sorry for doing the things I had to do tonight, but I was left with no choice. I hope you could forgive me in the future. I know I already told you this after handing this scroll to you, but I saw you as a brother and best friend. I wish I could have the same relationship with Sasuke as I did with you, but that is now impossible with what I have done. I know that I shouldn't deserve this, but may you please keep an eye on Sasuke and try to befriend him. There is something dark inside of him and I know it will come out in the future. And this scroll is my own journal of my thoughts of this world that I think you will find interesting. There is a fire jutsu that I have recreated that was used by Madara Uchiha, but I can't use it often because of the amount of chakra needed, but you have plenty of chakra to use it. I know that Shisui plans to give you the crow contract, so feel free to send messages to me when you need to and keep me updated on my brother whenever you can. Sincerely, Itachi Uchiha. Handling chakra into the scroll, a jar filled with liquid that held Mikoto's eyes came out, Itachi's filled journal of his thoughts on the shinobi world, and a fire jutsu called Kaiten. Great Fire Annihilation. Naruto smiled at the destructive jutsu as he thought it was quite fitting for someone like him. For the next couple of weeks Naruto signed the crow contract, trained in using his Mangekyo and begun learning Fuinjutsu. It was a couple months into Ria's training while she was sparring with Naruto in Taijutsu did she mature her Sharingan into 2 Tomos, which had her jumping around in happiness. She also picked up chakra control easier than Naruto as she could walk on trees only after a couple of days and walk on water after a couple of weeks. Though those were only Chunin level exercises, so she went further ahead and did Jonin level exercises, which was to balance a senbon on their fingers. It need careful chakra control to not have the senbon flying off or have it fall on its side because there was too much chakra going through the bottom, which pulled the sides of the senbon down. Luckily Naruto already did this exercise and helped her with it, but when she said what came after it, Naruto said he didn't know as he didn't go that far in his chakra control training. It had now been 2 years since the Uchiha massacre and Naruto decided to transplant Mikoto's eyes into himself. He couldn't really train in using his right eye's ability given what it was, but he did train a lot in his left eye's ability. His left eye's ability gave him the power to share his Sharingan to others. It doesn't have a name, but it does have its pros and cons. The pros of the jutsu is that he could give an ally the ability to use a fake Sharingan, as it isn't a real one, but Naruto's power, but it's still effective. Naruto can control the Sharingan if he needs to. For an example, he could use the ability to cast a Jinjutsu through the fake Sharingan onto another target for infiltration. The target of the jutsu will never know that they have the fake Sharingan unless someone tells them, and even if they channel chakra into their eyes, it won't activate unless they know or Naruto controls it to activate. The cons of the jutsu is that if the target knows that they have the Sharingan and they are enemies to Naruto, they could use the Sharingan against him until Naruto takes away the power. Even though it's a simple look into Naruto's left eye to get the Sharingan power, it takes time to take away the Sharingan, and if the target knows about the Sharingan they could use it against Naruto. Since Naruto hasn't activated his right eye's ability, he couldn't use Susanoo. In the past 2 years Naruto had been constantly training and using his left eye's ability to see what all he could do with it. He had become somewhat blind in the eye, and the only cure for that was the transplant. After the transplant, it took a full week for Naruto's eyes to adjust to the increase of power, along with the fusion of his Mangekyo and Mikoto's Mangekyo. The only difference there was to Naruto's Mangekyo was that it was basically Mikoto's Mangekyo, but with instead of it being a 6-pointed star, it was an 8-pointed star with a different design in the middle of the star. Since he also got the abilities from Mikoto's Sharingan, Naruto started training and using Amaterasu in his right eye and Tsukiyomi in his left eye. Along with him now able to use abilities from both eyes, he could begin training and using Susanoo. You might be wondering how Naruto was able to do the transplant without outside help. The answer is that with medical knowledge Naruto knew how to do it. All he did was create a reinforced cage Bunshin to do the transplant for him. It was after the transplant did Naruto think about Ria's current training. It was around a month ago when Naruto finally started her elemental training. Flashback 1 month. Naruto and Rias walked into the training ground talking about her progress that soon turned into her training. What are we going to learn today, Naruto? Rias asked. She first started calling Naruto, Naruto-sensei, but he stopped that since he was only months older than her. I will be teaching you about elemental affinities and start training you in yours, Naruto answered. How will we tell what my elemental affinities are? Naruto then went on about what elemental affinities are and how they will check to see what hers were. I'm a very lucky person as I have all 5 elements as my natural affinities. He then channeled chakra into his paper and it did the same as before, but his elements were slightly stronger. As you can see, my main affinities are fire, wind, and lightning, with my secondary affinities being earth and water. I have only trained in using my primary affinities, though as Shisui had the same as me and could actually teach me how to use them. Now channel chakra into the paper, Naruto ordered. Rias did as she was told and half of her got soaked in water and the other half burst into flames. Does that mean my primary affinities are fire and water? She asked. Yeah, it does, though you have a high affinity for both of them, with both of your affinities being as powerful as mine, except your water affinity being stronger than mine. Okay, let's start your training in the 2 elements. Which one do you want to train in first? Naruto asked. Rias thought it over for a few seconds and decided on fire. I should learn about fire manipulation first since the Uchiha clan is known for their fire element. It wouldn't be strange for me to know fire manipulation, since some clan members do learn about it early because of the Kaiten Fireball no Jutsu. It would cause problems if I started learning water manipulation, since barely any clan members have the water affinity, she explained her reasoning. Naruto nodded at this. Okay, the first step for fire manipulation is using your chakra to catch a leaf on fire. You have to picture your chakra as being very hot and on fire in order for this to work. Flashback end. Since a month had passed, her fire manipulation had gone pretty well. It seemed she was a natural at learning things. She can now catch the leaf on fire after 15 seconds, and it would take most jonins a couple of more months to get that far. Now on to the academy. A couple days later, we find Naruto sitting in the middle seat at the corner of the back of the room next to the window. Sasuke currently took up the seat next to the window, and the aisle seat was open, as no one wanted to sit next to Naruto. Well, except Shikamaru, Choji, and Kiba, but they were already sitting next to each other in the middle of the classroom. The academy day just started at the beginning of the academy year. They only got a couple of weeks of summer before they had to come back to the academy to start learning again. The time filling those couple weeks were the genin exams and team assignments, so nothing really changed for the class, except for a student to drop out or learning new material. The sensei Iruka Yamino then walked into the room carrying a clipboard meant for attendance. He was a really cool sensei in Naruto's eyes, as he was different than the rest of the teachers and village. Alright class, settle down. We have a new student coming into class that is from a year below you, though you are not that much older than her. He didn't even have to use his big head no jutsu to get the class's attention like usual, as the words new student and girl were in the same sentence. The girls in the class hoped they could make a new friend with her, while the boys in the class would like to see if they had a shot at dating this new girl. Iruka just ignored the whispers of the kids in the class. Alright. You can come in now. He shouted out towards the door. Everyone quieted down as they watched the door open and reveal Ryazuchi. Why don't you tell us about yourself, Iruka asked. Alright. My name is Ryazuchi. I like training sushi and my friends. I dislike a certain someone, and Raymond in the back of the class you could see Naruto asleep, but he was crying in tears as he heard what she said. My hobbies are training, hanging out with my friends, and sitting in the rain. My dreams for the future is to have a family of my own and make everyone I care about proud of me. She finished. You could see that the boys, not including Shikamaru, Choji, and Sasuke, looking at Rias like the girls looked at Sasuke. If you listened close enough you could hear Shikamaru mutter, "Oh great, a female Sasuke that isn't an emo." Alright Rias, you can go sit down wherever you like as I start class, Iruka told her. Almost everyone started asking her if she would like to sit with them, but all she did was ignore them as she looked around the classroom. After finding Naruto, she walked straight back there and yelled right into Naruto's ear. Someone's throwing away free ramen right next to you. With that, Naruto's head burst upwards in a burst of speed, looking around with wide eyes. Who dares throw away the food of the gods? He yelled out. The entire class burst out laughing, while Iruka gained a few tick marks. Naruto, don't sleep in class. Naruto looked at Iruka and scratched his head sheepishly. Haha, sorry sensei. Naruto then looked at Rias. Oh hey Rias-chan. What's up? Naruto greeted happily. Rias just shakes her head at Naruto's antics. Nothing, Naruto. Nothing at all. Naruto looked at her in confusion. What's that supposed to mean? Like I said. Nothing. How will the academy be with Rias in Naruto's class and there being fanboys now? The reason Rias was able to get into Naruto's class was because of all of the training she did with Naruto helped her skip a year, and so now she was in Naruto's class. Since they were 12 they only had 2 more years until they graduate, and Rias couldn't wait. Enjoy the chapter. In the forests of river country near the border of the land of rain, Naruto and another Chunin were in the trees, overlooking what they first believed was to be a bandit camp. We need to call for reinforcements immediately. We can't go up against 5 Jonin by ourselves. Naruto whispered roughly to his teammate on his current mission. Naruto's teammate just scoffed. We don't need reinforcements, even if we did it would be too late for the woman in the tent down there that the missing nin are having fun with right now, he reasoned with arrogance as he talked about not needing reinforcements. Naruto sighed at his teammate's reasoning and thought about it. I guess you're right, but we still need to come up with a plan to defeat them or escape with the woman. We got the advantage with them not knowing we're here. I can't defeat them all before they even realize what's coming. He spoke with an arrogant smirk before jumping out of the tree and running towards the tent. He was soon discovered though as the 5 Jonin left the tent and attacked him. Naruto looked at the situation with wide eyes at the foolishness of his teammate. He was right at saying they had the advantage of surprise, but that was quickly gone when he didn't stay to make a plan and he just ran out there expecting them not to sense them. What could Naruto do to deserve for this mission to go so horribly wrong? Flashback a year after Naruto transplanted Mikoto's eyes into himself. Naruto sighed in thought as he headed towards the Hokage's office after receiving a note from the Sandaime to meet him immediately after the academy. Hiruzen had been bugging him to become a genin so he could take missions and get experience, but he keeps denying it as Itachi asked him to watch over Sasuke and the best way to do that was to graduate the same time he did. There was also a part of him that wanted to graduate with Rias as well, but he pushed that aside at the moment. By the end of his thought Naruto arrived at the double doors that was the Hokage's office and without waiting for approval, he opened them and walked in. Hiruzen looked up and smiled warmly at Naruto and gestured for him to sit down in one of the chairs in front of the desk. Welcome Naruto-kun. Have you changed your mind on becoming a genin early? He asked even though he knew the answer. No Jiji, I want to become a genin when everyone else in my age group become genin. I thought so, I still have to try you know. I got a compromise for you then Naruto, and it doesn't involve you becoming genin Hiruzen informed him. Naruto raised an eyebrow at this. His interest was piqued and Hiruzen noticed that. What kind of compromise? I knew that would gain you interest. Anyways the mission you took with Shisui went well, even though it turned out to be a higher ranked mission you still did splendid. What I want you to offer you is that you can take missions I need your help on if there isn't anybody else I can provide. You will get paid for these missions, and the mission will be put in your file, so when you become a genin, you already have mission experience. This will also help you towards becoming chunin when the time comes, so what do you say? Can you take missions before you become a genin? Hiruzen asked with a grin as he got the feeling Naruto would say yes. Naruto thought over the offer for a couple of seconds which soon turned into minutes which soon turned into a half hour. Alright I'll take missions for you. Is there any missions you need me to be on at the moment? Naruto asked. Hiruzen's lips turned into a grin again after he lost it 5 minutes after he asked his question. Perfect. And yes I do have a mission for you Naruto-kun. It's just a simple C rank and all you have to do is accompany a team of chunin and observe how they do things. I can't have you immediately start missions without knowing how they work now can I? Hiruzen said with a laugh. By the way, why did it take you so long to answer my offer? Naruto gave him a confused look, but you could see mirth in his eyes. What do you mean Jiji? I came up with an after a couple of seconds Hiruzen's eyes widened at this. I just wanted to see your knowing grin drop and wait a while after that to make you nervous Naruto admitted. Hiruzen gave Naruto a small glare before laughing as well. Well how about we talk about this mission? It was around 2 months later did Naruto get the mission he was currently on. Walking into the Hokage's office with his mask and hood on, Naruto saw that Hiruzen was with another shinobi, a chunin Naruto guessed that he was his teammate for this mission. Alright you two I have a simple C rank mission for you two well, it isn't really simple as the mayor of one of the cities in the Land of Fire near the border of the Land of Rivers had his daughter kidnapped by what he believes to be bandits, taken back to their camp in the Land of Rivers near the border of the Land of Rain. Even though the mayor believes they are bandits, I want you two to be careful as I highly doubt that bandits would kidnap women and bring them across the border. I believe there might be missing nin in the camp that did the deed. I don't have anyone else at the moment that can take this mission other than you two. Your mission is to locate this camp, save the woman captured and eliminate the bandits and or missing nin. Do you understand? Receiving 2 nods he smiled alright you both will leave immediately. Hi Hokage-sama. The two then left the room and went towards the western gate. Flashback end. Naruto quickly shook of his thoughts as he saw 2 of the missing nin prepare for a collaboration jutsu. Jumping out onto the battlefield to prevent the combined jutsu from hitting his teammate, but he was too late as the 2 jonins finished their hand seals and called out their jutsu. Pain. Grand Fireball no Jutsu. Fuetin. Great breakthrough. The combined fire and wind jutsu turned the already huge fireball huger and hotter as it turned white. Jump out of the way. Naruto yelled out as he prepared a Suiton jutsu to at least try and counter the jutsu, but couldn't finish as the fireball was already upon his teammate. His teammate didn't even have time to scream as he was disintegrated from the heat. Naruto looked at the still oncoming fireball with horror at what it just did to his teammate. Pushing back the feeling of shock, he quickly finished his Suiton jutsu and called out, "Suiton. Wild water wave." He roared out as he used a good chunk of his chakra to create a water source as the wave of water hit the white fireball, creating a huge amount of steam. Using the steam as cover, Naruto activated his Sharingan as he ran towards his opponents. Arriving at his first target, a missing nin from Iowa. Quickly engaging the shinobi into jutsu, Naruto quickly realized that was the wrong decision as the Iowa shinobi had activated some kind of rock armor before he had arrived. Quickly disengaging from his opponent, Naruto began to process a way to get through the rock before jumping to the side to avoid a missing nin from Kumo, who had both hands covered in electricity. "You're good, kid, I'd admit that. This jutsu I have here is a copy of Kakashi Haddock's famous Chidori, though it's not as effective as his," the shinobi from Kumo explained. Naruto looked at the lightning-covered hands and thought before an idea came to him. "Perfect. What are you talking about, kid?" the Kumo shinobi asked as he charged. "Back in Kumo I was given the moniker the Shocker," he explained. Naruto froze for a second before he dodged a punch from both the Iowa and Kumo shinobi before he started laughing. The Shocker. Blahaha. That has got to be the worst moniker I have ever heard. Why you?" the Kumo shinobi yelled out in anger as he once again charged Naruto. Quickly coming a couple of yards away from Naruto, Naruto cast a Sharingan Jinjutsu on the Iowa shinobi that was added to attack him from behind to make it seem like he was the Kumo shinobi and the Kumo shinobi was him. The Iowa shinobi changed directions and charged towards the charging Kumo shinobi. Squinch. The sound of a fist going through bone and skin came to the ears of the two shinobi. The charging Kumo shinobi couldn't change directions in time to avoid piercing his Iowa comrade through the heart, in which killed him. "Why you brah?" The Kumo shinobi didn't get to finish as Naruto took his surprise and anger as an advantage to take out his Tanto and decapitate him. "Oten. Earth Dragon no Jutsu." Another missing nin from Iowa called out as he had been watching the entire time preparing his jutsu and his chakra. A huge earth dragon erupted out of the ground as it flew towards Naruto, who had began going through his own hand seals. "Raiten. Teen." Naruto called out as he aimed his hand towards the earth dragon as a bolt of lightning left it, which soon destroyed the massive dragon. He had to once again go through hand seals as the Suna and other Kumo shinobi redid the collaboration wind and fire jutsu. Haten. Grand Fireball no Jutsu Futon. Great breakthrough. Once again the combined jutsu created a massive white fireball. Naruto finished his own set of hand seals as he activated his Mangekyo. He remembered when he first realized what he could do with one of Makoto's Mangekyo jutsu while training his EMS. Flashback. Naruto was currently using his EMS as he used Tsukiyomi on a clone of his. He was trying to expand the amount of time in the jutsu. He could currently only do 24 hours in 1 second. "Hey boss. Why don't we try out Amaterasu and see how we are doing in it?" his clone that he was practicing on asked. "Alright, it wouldn't do to waste all my chakra on a single jutsu that I don't need at the moment anyways," and for the next few hours Naruto spammed out using Amaterasu and putting the black flames out. With the amount of chakra he used after a couple of hours, he only had enough chakra for one last use of Amaterasu. He was about to summon the flames again until the clone he never bothered to dispel stopped him. "Hey boss, why don't you try using the Amaterasu flames in a jutsu?" the clone asked. "Because the flames of Amaterasu, like you should already know, don't shoot out of the eye, but wherever I look it will instantly catch fire. I can't use Amaterasu in a jutsu if it works that way, and you know that." The Naruto clone just rubbed the side of his head as he thought of something. "Yeah, but what if you summoned the flames inside of you? Instead of molding normal fire chakra you could just mold the Amaterasu flames," the clone explained. Naruto's eyes widened at the explanation. "Why haven't I thought of that?" "You kind of did, boss. I am a clone of you after all." "You're right. I'm a genius." After going through some hand seals and creating and focusing the Amaterasu flames, he called out his new jutsu. Flashback end. Amaterasu. Grand Fireball no Jutsu. Naruto yelled out as he spewed out a huge black fireball that matched the size of the white fireball heading towards him. As the two powerful fireballs collided, they were fighting for dominance for a couple of seconds before the white hot flames of the white fireball was absorbed into the black one, making a swirling mix of black and white flames that if they weren't in a fight at the moment they would enjoy the view. After absorbing the flames, the now more powerful fireball exploded towards the two jonin that created the white fireball, incinerating them before they could even scream, or maybe they did scream, but the roar of the flames of the explosion snuffed them out. Naruto then turned to the last missing nin that now seemed to be nervous as their hands kept shaking and kept messing up the hand seals for whatever jutsu they were planning on using. Naruto used Shunshin to appear behind the jonin and decapitated him. Looking around the battlefield, he now realized that they moved farther away from the tents they started out from, and he was glad for that as the fire jutsu thrown around most likely would have caught the tents on fire. He looked at the area his teammate died and saw clumps of melted metal on the burnt ground, most likely his weapons and headband. After creating a clone to collect the heads of the remaining bodies of the Jonin, Naruto walked over to the tent and went inside so he can release the girls. What he saw next would forever be ingrained into his brain with or without the Sharingan. In the large tent he walked into, he saw 13 naked women from the ages 13 to 26. Some were chained to the ground next to sleeping bags and others to each other. Some of them had bruises on them, along with some cuts from most likely trying to escape and fight back. Along with the injuries, what made Naruto boil in anger was that they were all covered in sperm and they were trying their best to cover themselves as they cried. Naruto raised up his hands along with the tanto he had in a gesture, saying that he meant no harm. I mean no harm. I came here to rescue all of you. I am now going to cut the chains off of you guys, alright? After a couple moments the girls hesitantly nodded as they couldn't speak due to being gagged. Naruto then started walking around to each of the women and using wind chakra to make his tanto sharper cut through the chains, along with taking off the gags. He came up to the oldest woman after freeing them all and asked, "I'm sorry that you all had to go through this. Did they do anything or take away anything from you?" Naruto asked, meaning did they rape any of them? He expected her to say yes, considering that they were all covered in sperm. And no, they had a fetish for masturbating, looking at us, using our breasts, or making us make out with each other, otherwise we'd die. They said they would save the best for last, as they also had a fetish for raping mentally broken women that didn't care anymore. You saved us before they could actually rape any of us. Thank you. She bowed and thanked Naruto, but still tried to cover herself. Naruto saw that they were all trying to clean themselves, so he took it upon himself to use a small suiton jutsu to wash off everything away from the girls and then went and brought their clothes he saw in another tent. After all the women were dressed, Naruto burned down the tents and gathered the women into a group. "I'm once again sorry this had happened to you, and I wish it didn't," Naruto said in a sad tone. "But I still need to know which one of you is the daughter from the mayor of the Land of Fire." The girl that looked like she was 14, a year older than Naruto, came out from the back and looked at Naruto with some tears in her eyes. "That is me, my name is Toriyama Chibanu." What is your name?" she asked. Naruto blinked, not realizing that he hadn't introduced himself. "Oh, sorry about that. My name is Naruto Uzumaki and I'm from Konoha. I was sent here to rescue everyone and to bring everyone back to the city they live." "Are you the only one from the Land of Fire?" The 23-year-old woman he talked to earlier stepped up. "I'm also from the Land of Fire." Naruto nodded. "Do any of you know where they were taking you?" Toriyama spoke up. They were talking about an organization in the Land of Rain called Daybreak or something. They were going to use us to try and get into the organization, that is all I know. Sorry." Naruto shook his hands in front of him. No, that is a really big help actually. But first I need to get you all back home. I will create a cage bunchen to take the two of you," he said, pointing at Toriyama and the 23-year-old, "back to the Land of Fire, since you are the smaller group. I will personally take the other 11 back to the nearby town in the Land of Rivers to get them back home." "Alright, let's get going everyone," Naruto calls out. For the next few hours Naruto made conversation with the woman while traveling at civilian speeds to the town where all the women were kidnapped from. He became friends with Toriyama as he talked about Konoha and how he wasn't an actual leaf shinobi yet, but the Sandaime is allowing him to do missions. Toriyama explained her life as the mayor's daughter and that in the future she will be allowed to take over position as mayor due to the fact that her father is getting sick and he will sadly pass away soon. Once arriving in town, Naruto takes the woman to the town police force for help while he gets the memories of his clone that took Toriyama to the mayor's house. The mayor thanked him profusely and kept on urging him to stay for dinner, but Naruto knew he couldn't stay as he had to get back to Konoha to report the status of the mission and his dead teammate, so he repeatedly politely declined, along with the fact that he was just a bunchen. The mayor offered that he could return whenever he wants and if he needs anything just ask him. Afterwards Naruto headed into the bounties office and walked up to one of the desks, ignoring the other people in the room collecting bounties. "I would like to cash in 3 bounties, sir," Naruto requested. Naruto was currently wearing black pants and black shinobi sandals, along with a tight blue shirt. Strapped to his back was his own tanto. He didn't wear any headband over his head since he wasn't a shinobi yet, but he did wear a blank mask that covered his face and a black cloak. The middle-aged man behind the desk looked up at Naruto, wondering how someone so young-looking he assumed by the height got any bounties. "Alright kid, what do you got?" Naruto pulled out a sealing scroll and channeled chakra into it, causing a small poof to appear before clearing, showing 3 heads. "I got 3 shinobi bounties here. It would have been 5, but I accidentally incinerated the other 2. Naruto sheepishly chuckled. Everyone in the bounties office looked at Naruto in shock at how he could get 5 shinobi bounties at his age. Unknowingly Naruto got the attention of a masked individual in the back of the office that you could only see their head, but not their face. The middle-aged man snapped out of his shock and pulled open his drawer and pulled out a bag of money and handed it over to Naruto after checking the amount of money from the bounties. "Here boy. This is 30,360 yen. Naruto's eyes winded at that, not expecting it to be so much, but thanked the man anyways and left the shop, never noticing the same masked man that was in the office following him wearing a black cloak with red clouds. After about an hour of traveling in the land of rivers heading towards the land of fire, Naruto suddenly hears a voice behind him and he jumps to the left, dodging the attack. "Hayton. Searing migraine," the voice shouted. Naruto lands on a branch opposite of the attacker once the attacker stops. "Who are you and why are you attacking me?" Naruto yelled out. The attacker just goes through more hand seals before calling out another jutsu. "Suiton. Water Dragon Bullet." Naruto quickly jumps away and goes through his own hand seals and calls out his own jutsu. "Hayton. Fire Dragon Bullet." A dragon made of fire flew out of Naruto's mouth at high speeds as it collided with the water dragon. Naruto, knowing he had no chance against his attacker as he only had half of his chakra reserves at the moment from his mission, he infused the mist produced from the attacks to make it last longer and he used his fastest shunshin to try and escape. So the boy used chakra to keep the mist in the air longer. Impressive. Too bad it won't be enough. "Fueton. Gale Palm." Naruto's attacker called out, blowing away the mist. Not seeing Naruto inside, he quickly gave chase. Naruto was a pretty far distance away when his attacker gave chase, and Naruto decided to use the little time he had before his attacker was upon him to create a dozen Iwakage Bunshin to make fake trails to give him more time to escape. After the clones were, they all vanished in a blur as they each went in a different direction. After the clones left, Naruto continued the direction he was going, and after a couple seconds he felt his attacker stop at where he just was before turning and heading towards one of his clones' directions. The reason Naruto used Iwakage Bunshin was because when the Bunshin are dispelled, they dispel just like regular Iwa Bunshin, which gives him the advantage, as it doesn't give his attacker information on which village he was from, and his attacker doesn't know that he gains the memories of the Bunshin dispelled, letting him know where the attacker is. 5 hours later, it had been 5 hours since the chase began, and Naruto was starting to get tired. He was covered in blood as he had encountered the shinobi a couple of times, as his attacker had destroyed the Bunshin he created multiple times already, as he had to continuously recreate them. One of his clones got a good look at the shinobi before he was dispelled, and one of the other Bunshin used the information to look him up in the bingo books, and what he discovered caused him to have a heart attack, which made him dispel. After Naruto received the information, he also nearly had a heart attack. His attack was none other than Kakuzu the bounty hunter. An S-rank missing nin from the hidden village to Kigakure. It also mentioned that Kakuzu fought the Shadame Hokage and lived, and that further convinced Naruto that he had no chance. Naruto was currently resting as Kakuzu was chasing after once of his Bunshin quite a distance away. Naruto's clothes were covered in dirt and burned marks, along with tears in them from his encounters with Kakuzu, and luckily enough his hood and mask were still intact, which still covered his face and hair, helping him conceal his identity. Naruto took this moment to remember a lesson Shisui taught him when he was 10. Flashback: Naruto is 10 years old. Naruto had an excited and giddy grin on his face as he ran towards the training ground that he and Shisui regularly use. Today Shisui decided to take him on a small mission supervised under him. Running onto the field, Naruto ran over to where Shisui leaned against a tree. "Shisui-sensei." Naruto called out. "What type of mission are we doing today?" Shisui smiled at the enthusiasm his student had before his face turned serious at what his previous thoughts pertaining Naruto. Shisui put his hand on Naruto's head as he ruffled his hair and gave Naruto a small smile. "Today I will take you on a C-rank mission to eliminate a bandit camp. C ranks are usually reserved for experienced genin or chunin, but since I'm going to be with you it won't matter. But before we go I need you to listen to me about something." Shisui spoke, waiting for Naruto to answer. "Hi. What is it that you wanted to tell me?" Naruto asked with a tilt of his head. "It's about your future as a shinobi. Even though you still have 4 years until you are one, you can never be over-prepared. Whenever you are alone on a mission of being chased by enemies that either outmatch you or outnumber you, and they don't know your identity or affiliation, then I want you to physically change your appearance or do something to change how you look. If the enemy doesn't know who you are, what you truly look like, or even who you work with, then that can put you at an advantage. A henge won't be enough to change your appearance as it takes concentration to hold, and it takes up chakra along with. If the enemy knows how to dispel it or even see through it, you lose your advantage. A trick you could use to help is to get something powdery and that has a dark color to it and channel your chakra to it. You can rub that chakra enhanced powder into your hair to help change the color, and since it has chakra in it, it will last longer and is even waterproof for a while." Shisui finished. Naruto looked at Shisui with determination and conviction. "You got it, Shisui-sensei." Flashback end. Naruto chuckled dryly at the helpful information. It was as if Shisui saw this event happening. He then took out his only soldier pill and swallowed it, which brought up his nearly empty chakra. He got up and pulled a couple bushes from the ground and used a small Kaiten jutsu to turn the bushes into black ash. Grabbing a handful of the ash he channeled chakra into it and started rubbing it into his hair, which quickly turned from blonde, which had blood and dirt in it, into jet black. He walked over to the river and channeled chakra into the water to help wash the black ash from his hands. It was a couple of minutes later did Naruto get the memories from his last Iwa Cage Bunshin and how Kakuzu was now heading towards him with annoyance rolling off him. Naruto once again made more Bunshin that separated off and he continued onwards through river country. He wasn't going towards Konoha for the reason that Kakuzu could quickly figure out that he was heading there. Naruto couldn't help but think of Hiruzen as he ran out of the forests and into the plains with rivers all over them. He was supposed to be back in Konoha an hour ago to report how his mission was successful. He only hoped that Hiruzen noticed something was wrong soon or he won't last long. He may have strong and powerful jutsu, but they cost a lot of chakra and he wasn't very experienced on using them on the field. It's like comparing Zabuza Mamachi, a master swordsman with tons of experience to a genin being a master swordsman with no experience in a high-level battle. The genin wouldn't stand a chance. That's the position Naruto is in at the moment. He may have lots of strong jutsu, he just doesn't have the fighting experience to match up against Kakuzu. As it is Kakuzu is just playing with him he just doesn't know why. Hi no Kuni Kanahagakure Hokage's office. Hiruzen sat behind his desk looking at the door blowing smoke out of his pipe. He wasn't really paying attention to the door though as he was in deep thought. He should have been here an hour ago. Did the mission go wrong? He thought in worry. No, that couldn't have been it. I'm sure the mission was successful. Naruto probably stopped at a ramen stand on his way back. No, that also can't be it. The Chunin I sent with him wouldn't allow him to do that. Sigh, I will just have to wait for him to return. If he doesn't return by tomorrow then I will send out Anbu Hiruzen, then got back to finishing the paperwork on his desk. But Naruto 12 hours later. It was now around 8 in the morning and Naruto was currently resting against a boulder that was on the side of a river. He had encountered Kakuzu personally 7 more times in the last 12 hours and in that time he had accidentally revealed his Sharingan. It seemed with the revelation Kakuzu began chasing him even more vigorously. His mask had already broke to pieces along with his black cloak. He had to use a strong Jinjutsu over his already fading whisker marks to help conceal his identity. He's already back at half chakra reserves since he took the soldier pill. Usually his reserves would have already filled up again, but since he has been getting little rest and constantly using his chakra, they haven't been filling up as quickly. His last encounter with Kakuzu was an hour ago and before that it was 3 hours. It would seem he has been getting better at hiding and losing him and he's glad for it. Man, this sucks. Not only am I going through my chakra reserves fast, but I'm getting tired as well. Why is Kakuzu even chasing me? I'm not some shinobi with a high bounty, Naruto asked himself. The old man should be sending out some reinforcements soon if he hasn't already due to me not returning yet. It's not going to matter anyways, I'm already too far away from where my mission took me. By the time they even pick up a trail I would already be a goner as Kakuzu is going to catch up to me soon. With that Naruto got up and began running again. If he even thought this whole situation through then he would have thought of the idea to summon a crow to help him escape or even just inform the Sandaime, but no. He was just too tired and not having enough time to think about the situation. 4 hours later, Hokage's office. Hiruzen was now extremely worried for Naruto at the moment. It had been a whole day since he had given Naruto and the Chunin their mission and they should have been back the same day, if not as soon as the Hokage tower opened in the morning. Where are you, Naruto? Anbu? He yelled out. 2 Anbu members appeared in front of him. Hi Sandaime-sama, I want you to bring me special Jonin Anko Mitarashi and Jonin Kakashi Haddock here immediately. Make sure Kakashi understands that I mean immediately. Hi, and with that the 2 Anbu disappeared and returned 5 minutes later with both Anko and Kakashi. Kakashi, one seeing Hiruzen's face, turned serious. What is it that you need of us, Sandaime-sama? Anko just stood next to Kakashi with a confused face. Yesterday morning I gave a C-rank mission to a Chunin and Naruto Uzumaki to clear a bandit camp and rescue the mayor's daughter of a nearby city, along with any other woman captured. They were supposed to return yesterday afternoon, but they never returned. Now as it is midday and they still have yet to return and I suspect something has gone wrong. Your mission is to find the team and if the mission isn't complete it if the team doesn't have significant injuries. The mission was in the land of rivers near the border of the land of rain. I suggest you visit the mayor first to see if his daughter is returned yet and start from there. Now leave immediately. Hiruzen ordered. Hi Hokage-sama. Both Anko and Kakashi responded before using Shunshin to get their stuff. With Naruto was now lightly panting with only a quarter of his chakra reserves left as he drank water from the nearby river and started cleaning off some of the grime on him. In one of his clashes with Kakuzu, he had used his Tanto with wind chakra, but Kakuzu still somehow managed to cut right though it with a kunai covered in wind chakra. It would seem Kakuzu's wind element was currently stronger than his. After taking a couple of minutes of drinking water, Naruto sat back up and leaned up against a lone tree in the area. From the maps I looked at before my mission, I should be heading towards that ravine with the river at the bottom. I should arrive in around 5 hours or so. That should be enough time to make my last stand and hope I can get help on the way or maybe get lucky and knock him off the cliff. I will have to use a little of the Kyuubi's chakra later to refill my own, and maybe that can help me escape Kakuzu. I need to come up with another name and background before then, so I can completely cover up who I am, Naruto thought. My name had to be similar to an Uchiha, with Uchiha being my clan name, since Kakuzu already saw my Sharingan. How about Izuna Uchiha, named after the younger brother of Madara Uchiha? Yeah, that should work, and I can come up with something like my mom coming from the Uchiha clan, but ran away during the Third Great Shinobi War, with being marked as Kia. I could explain how she wanted to name me after Madara's brother and hope I could be as strong as him. I don't really have to come up with my dad's name, since Kakuzu would most likely be focused on me being an Uchiha. It took another 5 minutes before Naruto finished up with his fake history and identity, before getting up and running towards his now dead end. 4 hours later, Kakashi and Anko have been traveling at their top speeds to arrive at the mayor's house, and all the hard running paid off as they appeared in front of the mayor's door. Kakashi stepped forwards and knocked 3 times before stepping away. It was a minute later did Toriana open the door to see the both of them. "May I help you?" she asked. Kakashi spoke up. "Yes, you can. Are you the daughter of the mayor here?" He got a nod from Toriana. "Then would you know what happened to the Leaf Shinobi that rescued you yesterday? They were supposed to report in yesterday afternoon after they finished their mission but never showed up." Toriana looked confused. "What do you mean?" "There was only one Leaf Shinobi that rescued us yesterday, of the name Naruto Uzumaki. He had a clone take me and one other back here. Well, he took the bigger group of 11 back to the village they belong in the land of rivers," she answered. Kakashi and Anko were confused at this. Didn't Naruto have a Chunin with him on this mission? Quickly thanking Toriana, both Anko away. "So what do you think happened to the Gaki?" Kakashi. Anko asked. "I don't know. Whatever happened to the Chunin, it happened before the girls were rescued, or at least during, while the girls couldn't see anything. Naruto, on the other hand, could have ran into some trouble while on his way back to Konoha and had to go a different route on the way back. Either way, we need to go report to Hokage-sama about this so he can figure out the best move." So we ran all the way here at our top speed for nothing?" Anko whined. Kakashi just shook his head. "No, we did not. We got important information that could help us find Naruto and maybe the Chunin that might be with him. If we didn't get this information from the mayor's daughter, then we might be wandering around the area for hours before actually going back to Konoha to inform the Hokage that Naruto may not be going on the same route back due to some trouble," Kakashi explained before jumping into the trees heading towards Konoha. Another 4 hours later. It had been 4 hours since Naruto's last stop to come up with a fake name and history, and at the moment he came to a stop in the middle of a field. He hadn't encountered Kakuzu in the last 4 hours, which had made him suspicious as Kakuzu destroyed his last bunch an hour ago, so he should have caught up to him by now. Naruto sat in a meditative form as he began to build up his chakra, and once that was done he activated his Mangekyo Sharingan and slowly began to draw on the Kyuubi's chakra. Each time he was about to draw too much because of anger and hatred in the chakra, he forced it back down with his Mangekyo. He did this for 10 minutes until his chakra reserves restored to 3/4, which he was going to need. The Kyuubi's chakra also got rid of the fatigue had gotten from staying up constantly for almost 2 days, along with giving him more strength. "When I get back to Konoha, I am definitely skipping the academy for a week and resting, and I might visit the hot springs too." Naruto, though, with a more relaxed face because of the Kyuubi's chakra. Back in Konoha Hokage's tower, both Kakashi and Anko climbed the stairs leading up to the Hokage's office and entered the room and closed the door. The Sandaime looked up from his paperwork and turned on his serious face once he saw who it was, even though he already sensed their chakra. "How did your mission go? Did you find Naruto?" he asked. Kakashi shook his head. "No, Hokage-sama, we didn't find him. We checked with the mayor and his daughter opened the door. We asked about Naruto's team and how long ago it was, and she answered that Naruto was the only one that saved he and the others and defeated the shinobi that captured them on the same day. Even from that information I conclude something happened to the Chunin that was with Naruto before or during the attack, and after Naruto saved the girls and returned them home, he must have gotten into some trouble returning to the village and had to take a different route. I believe it's safe to say that both Naruto and the Chunin with him can be marked as MIA until either are found, and that we start searching for possible routes Naruto could have taken on his way home." Kakashi finished. Before the Sandaime could reply, the door burst open and Rias came in with a worried and distressed look. "Please find him, Hokage-sama. He is all I have left besides the other Uchiha kids. I don't want to lose my best friend so soon." Rias cried out. "We will do the best we can, Rias-chan. For now you just go home and rest and wait for Naruto to return," Hiruzen warmly assured. Rias just nodded, wiping away the few tears that were escaping her eyes. With Naruto an hour later, Naruto was running across the ground as fast as he could to make it to his destination. Kakuzu was a few minutes behind him and he needed all the time he could to prepare. Skidding to a halt in front of the ravine, Naruto quickly tried to catch his breath as he turned around to await for Kakuzu. It was 3 minutes later did Kakuzu appear in front of him with a shunshin and looked at Naruto with an annoyed look, but impressed one at that. "You are the original, are you not? I don't sense any more of your clones, and I highly doubt you could fool me long enough to get away yourself. You are quite impressive with your jutsu arsenal and how you can continuously run away from me knowing I was a stronger foe. What is your name, Ichiha?" he asked roughly. Naruto thought about it before answering. "Izuna Ichiha." Kakuzu nodded. Fitting name for someone with so much potential. It's like your Madara Ichiha's little brother reborn. Now let's get down to business. I doubt you're from Konoha as all of the Uchiha shinobi were killed by Itachi and the fact you would have fled there once I started attacking you, but you didn't. Who is your parents, boy, and how is there an Uchiha outside of Konoha without no one knowing? Kakuzu said in a commanding and powerful tone. Naruto then told Kakuzu about his fake history and other stuff and Kakuzu just looked at him intensely to see if he was lying. Luckily Naruto was good at lying. "Alright then. I'm going to test you out. If you pass you live, if you fail you die, and I sell your Sharingan eyes." Kakuzu then disappeared and reappeared in front of Naruto with his fist cocked back. Naruto quickly jumped to the side as Kakuzu punched where he previously was. Naruto tried using his speed to attack Kakuzu from behind, but Kakuzu easily blocked his kick and sent a fast counter kick knocking him back. Now that there was distance between them, Kakuzu went through more hand seals and called out a jutsu. "Peyton." Swirling vortex. After saying that, a huge swirling vortex came out of Kakuzu's mouth and sped towards Naruto, who was going through his own hand seals. Suiton. Water dragon bullet. Using the water from the river below, Naruto sent a water dragon at the vortex. Right when the dragon hit the fire, Naruto started going through more hand seals and called out another jutsu. Fuiton. Flowing wind fist. Naruto then quickly ran through the mist formed from the last two attacks and appeared in front of Kakuzu and unleashed his jutsu. Kakuzu, seeing the wind-coated fist, could only bring up his arms in an X pattern to block the jutsu and was sent flying backwards. Naruto just stood there panting, letting his Sharingan deactivate. Even though he just refilled his chakra reserves to 3/4 of the way, his reserves were already really low, even though the fight just started. "It seems I'm wasting too much chakra in my jutsu. I know I had to use a bunch of chakra to get the water dragon up here quickly and to match the fire vortex coming towards me. I also put a lot of chakra into that wind jutsu in order to actually do something against him. I thought I got rid of the fatigue by using the Kyuubi's chakra, but I guess I only gotten rid of it temporarily." It was then that Kakuzu got up from the ground and walked towards him. "How in the world are you not injured?" Naruto yelled out, seeing that Kakuzu only had ruffled clothes. "You're strong, boy, but not strong enough." It was then that Naruto noticed black threads coming off of Kakuzu and into the ground. Before he could question anything, the same black threads came out of the ground in front of him, and all Naruto could do was move slightly to the right as the threads turned into a sharp point and pierced right through his chest, barely missing any of his vital organs. Naruto's eyes widened and he spits out blood before wobbly jumping backwards, landing a foot away from the edge of the cliff. Naruto couldn't land properly due to his wobbly legs and collapsed on the ground while Kakuzu walked calmly towards him. What neither of them noticed was the cracks appearing on the ground around Naruto. "You passed my test, boy. I will let you live today, but only for you to gain more power and get a high bounty on your head in the bingo book." Kakuzu then stated to turn around and walk back to town, but he heard the ground crack. Looking back around, he sees Naruto's eyes wide as the ground around Naruto cracked and gave way for Naruto to fall into the river below. Kakuzu doesn't do anything but watch the boy fall and crash into the water. He focused his minor sensor abilities and was able to tell that Naruto was still alive. "Live longer until I come and collect your bounty, Izuna Uchiha," Kakuzu finally said before walking away. River. Naruto floated down the river that led into Hai no Kuni with his vision going dark. There was only one thought going through his mind before he passed out. What have I gotten myself into? What if Naruto has Otsutsuki legacy harem? Thanks for watching my video till the end. If you enjoy this content, then do consider subscribing to my channel and leave a like if you guys need the next part. Comment down, and thanks for watching the video and see you guys in the next video.